Good evening, one and all. It is Sunday today. It's the end of the week. And of course, you know what that means. It means we are jumping into some more good old Warframe. Welcome in, everyone. Hope you're doing well where you are around the world today. Hello there, Hatari. Hello there, Murmur. Hello there, Logren. Hello, Kabu. Hello, Miracle Raven. Hello, Ductile Wheel. Hello, Mirrorlape. Hello, Radio Stars. Hope you're all doing well. I have my tea all ready to go. And of course I got the water next to it, double hydration all the way. And today is a very simple one. We have got the entirety of the dev stream that happened over on Friday. For those of you who missed it, you can see the replay on this channel here. But we had indeed the entirety of the dev stream, and they have given us plenty of bits and pieces to digest and talk about. And so whilst we're going through all that lot, I might as well grab some more ducats and refill these void traces, because I am missing around about 1,523 from my cap. Yeah, it's not devastating, it's not problematic, but it is a resource I can go ahead and acquire. So that is what I shall do. Absolutely. And you lot will be welcome to join in on that as well. I'm going to swap over from Worm to Eevee there, just because that enhances the rate of gain. And whilst I'm at it, might as well pop on over to a relay and set up some kind of buff. Hello there, drummer. Welcome on it. Oh, would you look at that, Squirbo? You're up onto a 40 stream streak. My word. That's dedication right there. I just about managed to turn up to 40 of my streams in a row. So, well done. Alright, let's see. Can someone drop a resource blessing, please? Oh, well, you look at that perfect timing. Go ahead and have your resource drop chance blessing. And when you see the text from them, splendid. Really, that was impressive. You managed to get here in time. I pretty much seamlessly went straight in, and you still managed to get here in time. Well done. Okay. Alright. An acceptable level of stream sniping. It is non-interfering. We'll allow that one. Okie dokie. Well, with no further ado, let's get straight onto the Ducats. If you'd like to join me on that, send me a message in game. That is the Kengineer, and I'll bring you on into the squad. First come, first serve. No particular relics required. Just enough relics to actually go ahead and perform fishes. If you don't have a relic, that is a problem. Please play the game some more. Now, let's see. What have we got? I mean, we have got some interesting fishes popping up at the moment. That is good news for us. Let's bring in a Mirrorlape. We've got Elio and Mirrorlape. One spot left available for anyone who'd like to join as well. Of course, there's no priority to have someone in. We can just get cracking on that. So, honestly, I'm not going to delay. My focus is more on just relics cracked rather than value per relic. So, let's get straight onto this one here. Even if we're in a mission, you can still send a message. We'll fill up that spot. No problem whatsoever. There's just no point dilly-dallying today. No point at all. Now, if we were doing a particular farm, say if we're trying to get a hold of the Masseter Prime in advance of the Masseter skin that is coming out, then sure, yeah. But we're not trying to do that. It is Ducats, which requires just any relic, and Void Traces, which doesn't require a relic at all, actually. Ah, we have a Logren request. Let me... where's my mouse? Can I right-click? I can't right-click at the moment. Nope. Definitely not.
You are here on a capture mission. You must find, capture, and extract our target.
Simple as that. And we have requests for some green in the background. There we go. A little bit of green for you there, Ductile. A little bit of green. Now this is a void fish, so we do need to be picking up reactors along the way, but speeding straight to a target is also good. And as we pick up a focus orb, this is one of the first things I want to bring to mind, is in the dev stream, I'm going to have to bring up the replay on this one myself actually, because I want to get the exact wording, but in the dev stream I believe that Reb said something to the tune of the Tauron Strikes. These grand things introduced with the Pirates Rebellion, so the Old Peace Quest, as far into the game as you can get in terms of story at the moment, at least on the operator side of things. And then many hours of time invested to farm them up. Not to mention the focus school itself is a process. And then to actually have the modding to get the value out of it is apparently a mid-game focus item, where the aim isn't to make them of significant value to later game players, and that later game players should be more focused on the amp buff. Does Viral Rush scale with range for distance travel? Yes, it does. Yeah. So with a really high range build, I could just do... Oh, sorry. Ran out of space. Let me try that again. I can do... Which is really damn nice. Real nice. Yeah. High range build, and then range fisher bonus, you just get a lot of distance covered. And because of the versatility of Lavos' kit and the fact that you can reduce cooldowns to 0, you can use his 1 and 3 to further enhance your ability to dash. So, in a perfect setup, and it's a little hard to pull off, but in a perfect setup, you can do the triple Vile Rush, which is Vile Rush into using Transmutation Probe to instantly cool down Vile Rush into a Vile Rush, and whilst your Transmutation Probe was travelling during your second Vile Rush, it reset the cooldown of Vile Rush, you can Vile Rush again. Health Restore Large, how often do I use it? I think never. Yeah, I think genuinely never. Let's see, so the range on this is 57 meters with this build. This isn't actually the highest range, is it? Hold on. No, this is just a 190 range, isn't it? Standard range. Yeah. I think it's on... No, come to think of it, I don't think I actually run a max range build. There is a 205 on full caster. But yeah, the rest of these I run 190. So you can get it higher if you wanted to. But 190 is still quite a bit. But yeah, 57 meter range on it. You get a Void Fisher bonus, that's now 114 meters. You then do a triple dash on that, that's covering 342 meters in the space of a few seconds. That is, Yes, Boone, you're correct. It is only a resource drop chance booster from the True Masters font, which means it doesn't actually affect Void Traces in any way whatsoever. It does affect other resources, which can be nice to pick up, but yeah, no enhancement for gathering Void Traces. Nuh-uh. Lavos speed frame confirm. Lavos is a very mobile frame if you set him up to be so. I've got particle velocity bonuses on him as well, so if we just have a quick looky-loo here, Arcane Consequence, and I've got... I think I've taken off the Archon Shards for it, because I've got Arcane Consequence doing enough there. But Consequence, I think, is a 90% particle velocity bonus, so my bullet jumps are basically twice as strong. Might be 60%? I think of it. I can't remember which one now, but it's a lot. You add on this general mobility, and yeah. And I could have triple dashed there, but I realized I wanted to actually engage with the Void Fisher. Grab some reactant. There we go. If you're in a mission where you just want to move forwards, you can go for that triple dash pretty liberally. Exit's probably down this way. Ah, nailed it.
We'll interrogate the captive back at base. Your part is done here, Tenno.
Okay, those were the worst 3 dashes I could have done, but it was a triple. Also because the companion I'm using at the moment, I have much lower fire rate on my Foreman, but it's fine. It's just a bit of fire rate. It doesn't matter in a mission like this. Oops, I missed that bit of reactant. Yoink. Actually missing a fair chunk of reactant. I must have gone a little bit too far ahead. which is a problem because we're at the end of the mission. I have made a mistake here in my dashing. It is a vulnerability you encounter in these kinds of things. There we go.
That's it. You opened the relic. Finish your mission and we'll take a look inside.
That fixed it. Oh, hey, would you look at that? Let's go for the Nautilus one. Yes, please. Although, whilst I look at it, Corinth, Prime Stock, 15, Nautilus, Prime Blueprint, 10. Woo.
Another job well executed.
Yes, I switched in time. Okay. Very quick Warframe market searching, and that is why you probably want to use an overlay if you care about the platinum on them. Oopsies. Ridiculous say, hi Ken. Yes, Reb did say those bits and pieces. Ridiculous saying they agree with her. Given the changes to progression, is it possible to complete the story at single digit MR? Thinking D considers Tower on the first post game. Considers Tower on the first post game farm. Interesting. Whilst you can speed through the story in terms of getting their very low MR, I don't know how much we could consider that a typical player progression. Bearing in mind that if we open up Herita here, that kind of gameplay is level 65 to 70. So that is a fair amount of level scaling, plus the boss fight on top. It is a boss fight every single time. Unless you are regularly being carried, you do need to actually equip yourself for that, and that is a fair amount of progression in itself in terms of upgrading your mods. The biggest part of the Zero to Hero process for Dan wasn't the actual completion of quests, it was getting the power to handle what comes next. And that is basically a modern endo farm. Regardless as to when you access it though, Warframe is not a game that stops shortly after completing the quest. It's not a story game. As much as there is a quest line that you can experience, and as much as that quest line comes to an end, or at least you get up to the present level of development, the game itself doesn't stop there. There is plenty to be going on with. In terms of introducing equipment, this is touted as the Focus expansion. It is supposed to be a big ol' whack of content. And so far, my biggest use of this big ol' whack of content is to give my amp some stats. If we go on a slot basis here, 2/3 of my Focus expansion is amp modding. I have a little bit here for secondary modding. This does nothing for anything about text, this is entirely secondary. And then one bit here that I slapped on it gives a little bit of a initial charge bonus, so I can actually get a tower on strike that bit faster. And it also synergizes into the rest of the mods. This one becomes more powerful as a result. This one becomes more powerful as a result. Yeah. That's why I look at that, I'm like, why should that be mid-game? Before we go into the next mission, let's actually grab exactly what she said there. I want to make sure I'm not post-interpreting that whole thing. So it was Warframe, Devstream 192, there we go. Let's get that up on... Whoa, that was loud. Let's get that up on YouTube real quick. Just gonna... How do I want to do this? I'm just gonna move this over here and maximize it. Let's find the particular spot. Let's just find the particular spot on that one, shall we? So, wall running, 400 blah blah blah. Next update, code weapons, new head, new Honorias. Is there a chapter? Remember when it happened? Okay. Where was the commentary on it?
Or just...
3 new lines.
Ooh. Do you remember what they are? Can you teach us?
No. Keep going. Keep going was one.
We have.
Could I add something about the wall running? I think the other thing
that's still them focusing on wall running. Actually, wait. Yeah, we're halfway into a different section. It comes back to wall running. Okay. Use the auto transcript search. I might have to. Yeah. Let's switch screens back around a moment then. That should. There we go. Let's try using the auto transcripts. That might honestly be the right way to do this. Show transcript. Let transcript load. There we go. And then I am looking for Tauron. Yeah. Problem with auto transcript is now it needs to identify that word strike. Here we go. Here we go. This might have the bit I need. Maybe. We'll see.
Also looking feedback for Tauron strikes, as you
Oh,
mentioned.
yes. So that was one part of the update. We are still discussing it. We had a call about it, not actually, I think this week and last week, or just last week, about feedback for Tauron strikes, and we wanted to use the Devstream as like the widest net platform. We're still talking about it. There's some unsolvable problems we feel.
Yeah, they're a little tricky just because, obviously some of the feedback is coming from some of, our most fervent fans, aka you, if you're watching this.
The registered losers.
Have the ability to clear gigantic rooms with the press of a button already. So it is hard for someone that already, gets into a room with ball, presses 4 and everything dies.
Or like Vauban's Bastille. Why would you ever use the Tauron strike if there's no enemy cap on Bastille?
Yeah, pretty much. So
Jokes
it is very
aside on
hard
that.
for that to justify like a room clearing ability, as powerful as it might be if it has a cooldown. But the problem is we really like the fantasy. We think it fits really well for anyone that's like in the middle of the game, aka someone that's playing straight up to this content and it can use them. I think they do have a role there. I think for a veteran it's going to be near impossible to middle of the game, aka someone that's playing straight up to this content and it can use them. I think they do have a role there. I think for a veteran it's going to
someone who's played straight up to this content. I think they have a role there.
Be near impossible to make something that you find really useful because you already don't need any help. You already have all the power that you could possibly want in the world.
We do have a lot of power.
I think for a lot of veterans, really the main gain from this was the modding for operators and some of the buffs. But again, the buffs last 30 seconds, and I've seen requests for make them last forever, or remove the animations because they just take too long, and it really kind of kills the vibe of it. So we're trying to kind of figure out it's squaring a circle, and right now, at least where we're at is that probably the strike is more for that middle player, and for veterans, really the modding is where the benefits lie.
Yeah.
So,
but the patient is still in diagnosis.
Maybe it happens a little bit later on, but I could have sworn that half of that conversation was from Reb about the middle player bit. This only happened 2 days ago. How is my memory this bad?
So surgery methodology remains to be seen. So we don't have anything that here's exactly what we're doing yet, but that's the headspace we're in.
Yep.
So
Excellent. All right.
We're not removing the animations, so that's kind of a non-negotiable for us. So
Perfect.
flavor.
Flavor. Speaking of flavor.
And then that's the end of that, because they're transitioning onto a new topic. Okay, so it was pretty much Pablo's side, actually, but Reb confirming it all as well, and Reb reaffirming as well about the animations, just the exact wording.
Headspace we're in.
yep.
So
Excellent. All right.
we're not removing the animations, so that's
Not removing the animations. No comment on altering the animations, although that is plenty of work in itself, but yeah. So, here's where I sit on that. Here is where I sit. The mid-game is a bit of a difficult thing to kind of shape and define. What really exists as the mid-game? When is someone mid-game? Unfortunately, as a term, it doesn't really hold enough of a definition to set the upper and lower boundaries of its existence. I've previously delineated very early game, mid-game, and late game on the basis of very early game, you haven't even got to Saturn yet, the enemies are absolute pushovers, you can pretty much bullet jump some of them to death. most of them to death. Early game is when you start to see the story, the main operator storyline coming online. That's where you're getting into enemies which are more resilient. You have to start thinking about actual modding on your weapons. Even on your melees, you do need to start putting in some effort for enemies to still be one-shot. Mid-game is then, once you got into the thick of it, that is where the star chart is now pretty much conquered. At least you can handle those levels, but you're now getting into the more serious levels of content, talking about into your sortie tier, and then late game is you are now blazing at the edge of the content outside of Steel Path modifiers, working into Steel Path itself. I don't consider late game to start after Steel Path, because you've reached the end of late game. Congratulations, but that's still in the late game tier. That's where I kind of have to draw the lines of levels of progression. And this matches up to various sets of things coming online in those processes as well. But when it comes to something that is meant to be most impactful for mid-game, I do find myself wondering then, like, what is the longevity of this content? What is the longevity of it? Pablo said to the tune of, these are, for your more veteran players, mostly stat buffs. Let me get the wording on that.
Animations, because they just take too long, and it really kind of kills the vibe of it. So we're trying to kind of figure out it's squaring a circle. It's more for that middle player, and for veterans, really the modding is where the benefits lie.
Yeah.
So
the modding is where the benefits lie, and those modding benefits, as I showed earlier, are, for me at least, it's amps. It's basically just my amp. If we go further into the mods, because these are the ones I picked out as the most broadly useful to me, what else are we looking at here? We've got Operator bonus to shields. We have Tower and Strike initial charge, which I've got there. Estivelica, which is Void Sling distance. That's again Operator stat / function buff. Operator jump height. This is one of the quote-unquote common mods. Even now, I'm not gonna lie. 60% at max. I'm assuming 60%. Yeah, 60% jump height? That's a little niche, but okay. An amp mod. A amp mod. Void mode efficiency. Utility. Container braking. Cool. Operator tank. Operator movement speed, operator tank, amp buff, void sling, amp buff, operator tank, because knockdown immunity is basically another form of tank, amp buff, transference static duration buff, which, okay, fair enough. I can again see utility in that. Certainly if you are doing more operator gameplay, having reduced negatives on running out of hit points as operator is a welcome option. But again, it's got nothing to do with Tectilist. Amp buff and operator tank buff. Atop these mods that I've got here, which is amp buff, amp buff, amp buff, amp buff, tower on cooldown. Sorry, tower on initial charge, not cooldown. Basically nothing here is to do with the Tectilist artifact. All of it, really all of it, is in the actual focus school. And in this case, I have got this one fully invested into. Let's just hear saying the secondary heat Tectilist Arcane is broken with things like Hildred's Balefire. Broken in which way, please? If it needs calling out, what's broken with it? So in the terms of the investment, we've got Thar Tower on Strike. Summon 4 Thar from the void and fire the Great Bow into the air, blanked in the air with a rain of explosive arrows for 7 seconds. On dealing damage, fire another arrow at an enemy, and that'll actually target up to 4 other enemies nearby to them. Increase the range of arrows radius to 5 meters, so it's just, yeah, that's just the radius I've got. And gain some ability strength for 30 seconds based on the enemies hit by the initial tower on strike. Which means in total we have a large damaging field, smaller damaging after effect, and a strength buff. On something that in ideal circumstances we're charging up every 3-ish minutes. Yeah. Doshira saying the issue is it adds way too much damage, started using it to see your damage skyrocket. Okay, if it's adding too much damage, as in it's bugged, then please go ahead and report that on the bug report forums, !bug. Now, if on the other hand, your definition of way too much is you think it adds too much rather than, yeah, it's been designed too strong rather than it shouldn't be doing that much, then fair enough, but I wouldn't call that broken at this point in time. Just for the sake of understanding where we're at. Very powerful? Yes. Not, but it's just really... Okay, cool. You're using broken to mean it's really powerful. I get it, a lot of people do use that, but we need a distinction. And broken, by and large, is better used to refer to stuff that doesn't work. Because otherwise, I don't know what you're saying. And I know a lot of content creators on a lot of games love going, "This is broken!" Oh, believe you me, it is difficult to understand what people are on about when they do that. Yeah, don't pick up that habit from the Mr. Beast wannabes. It's not a good one. Say things are overpowered? Sure. Then we know exactly what you mean. Right, me admonishing definitions aside. If it's really powerful, really powerful. But again, the really powerful, if anything, if that's the one to talk about, the one that doesn't do anything outside of the Warframe. No. Ridiculous says, someone did the math, it's 5 mil focus per tree, just the expansion, but I have the source. I think you're probably about right on that. If I go to the Xeneric one, which I've not invested into so far, so I can still do this. Just every now and then, just double check that. That's more than 1 mil. Oh, so you said 5 mil per tree, not 1 mil per tree. Yeah, 5 per tree. Yeah, it seems about right. It's a little bit less, I want to say, but it's in that ballpark. On top of extra resources. In total, I think it takes 2,310 total Paris resources to go from having completed the quest to everything unlocked. Is that actually over 5 mil? Didn't look like it. Okay, never mind. I was estimating because I was seeing these at 220 down, but these are 180 up. But I suppose, yeah, the 85 kicks it over. Huh, fair enough then. So, yeah. Which, for someone like myself, that's plenty manageable. That is plenty manageable. Because I already have just 11 mil focus spare there, 11 mil, 7 mil, 7 mil, 17 mil. I've already achieved it, and then some. Xeneric is one of my lowest because I play a lot of Lavos, so cue surprise. But in general, I also play this game a hell of a lot. Of course I'm going to be at a point in time where I have all of these bits and pieces. I have all of that farmed up. Can it show me the focus I have left to farm today? There we go. I've already gained a little bit, but we'll look at a cap in the few 100,000 for someone of my mastery rank. So even if you cap it out every single day, to get 5 mil in one school is going to take you a few days. You cast it over the entire lot of them, you are looking into weeks, months. So yeah, it definitely is not a small process. And then the actual gain of the Paris resources, which only come from Paris and only come from doing the Paris Rebellion mission. And I do stress that it's basically a singular mission because you spend most of your time on the exact same stuff over and over. It's a lot. Which says focus cap is 250k per day plus 5k per MR. Okay, fair enough, there we are. So yeah, we've 34 MR. I've got what, another 150, 170 on top of that. So that's 420 per day. 30. Yeah, that sounds about right with what I got here. I was speaking with a couple of other content creators about this at the moment, with some mixed responses. Definitely some mixed responses. I think the most opposed, not going to name names because I didn't agree to share names on that, but the most opposed to my perspective on this was saying that they think the farm time is okay for the textless artifacts. They think it is reasonable because most players are only going to focus on a couple focus schools in the first place. That rather than making even or liberal use of all 5 focus schools, there might just be a Zeneric or Zeneric Madurai, or there might just be Naramon or Nairu, something like that. So they only need to get those artifacts, be damned to the others. And I countered that, sounds like exactly the reason this needs to be reduced. If people are already putting off focusing into other focus schools because for the amount of effort it's not worth the results to them, then that's not a reason to make the grind for the next step on those trees even longer. Right? Unless I'm missing some crucial detail. Look at it, a quote-unquote typical player opting not to unlock and make active use of all 5 focus schools. Doesn't seem like a good reason to make it take longer to get there. Maybe I would say you can use the Eidolon shards? Oh sure, yeah. But mid-game players are not the type of player to be very good at Eidolons, are they? I'll just say one of the people like it was realistically because the focus grind is worse in the game. There we are. Only have Naramon and Nairu maxed. Fair enough, Alsu. Also, Moon requested a change in music in the background. Let's do that whilst we natter. You wanted to have this one. There we go, just make sure that has gone through correctly. Yes, it has. Wonderful. So yeah, it's definitely a longer duration on it. Now, in terms of Pablo's points on the text list, Tower Run strikes themselves, the actual attacks that we make with them, or could make with them, let me just switch this back over to the one that I have got invested, which was Madurai's, the bow. The whole, we already have access to a lot of power, we already have access to room clearing effects, how can it really compete with that, how can it be worth that? And to be honest, this creates a cascading set of questions for me. A genuinely cascading set of questions. The first question that stands out is, what is the purpose of the Tower Run strikes? Is the purpose of the Tower Run strike to be a cinematic Arsenal stuffer? Because, as we see in the quest, and I'm assuming the vast majority of you have gone through the quest, if not all of you, as we see in the quest, you get to the point where you are showcased this new Tower Run strike, you've reached this point in gameplay progression, you are now going to have a Tower Run strike, don't keep it, and based on whichever focus school you've selected, you use that particular Tower Run strike in that quest moment. The one that they showcased at TennoCon was using the big-ass sword, which got a lot of people really excited because big-ass motherfucking sword being ripped out of the void, swung in front of you, and obliterating this massive gun. Oh, what a cinematic and powerful moment. Yeah! I went in with a bow, just because I happened to pick Madure, and when I got the bow to happen there, and then this kind of hard to really perceive rain of arrows happened in the vicinity of the gun, and then the gun exploded. I may be misremembering, but isn't a Nairu a hammer you slam into the ground? Oh, I've not unlocked that one yet. Isn't a Nairu a hammer you slam into the ground? Which means that if you pick a Nairu going into the quest, unaware as to the setup you're about to be given, you get to that point in time where you're stood on a small cliff face looking out across this giant gun, and you just kind of thump the ground in front of you, and then the gun explodes. I feel there is a bit of a disconnect there. I feel like that was very much made for the sword, and the others just kind of had to deal with it. So in terms of it being a crazy cinematic item, I'd take that one down a point there. So now we get into general gameplay. You're outside of this cinematic moment. It's got to be a gameplay element that is worth using alongside everything else that is happening. Ooh, that brokey. Zero kind of works with a beam? Yeah, kinda. Still need to upgrade that one to properly appreciate it. Oh look, the extra effort involved for the mid-game player. Oh yeah, there's the Vazarin staff, which I imagine does much the same. If not even more conservative than the hammer of the Nairu. Getting aside from that. If we're not looking at it as just a quest cinematic moment piece, much like the brief operation of the giants in the Albrix labs, I forget the name of them, the vessels. If they're not just a quest moment, and are meant to be this invested into feature, I don't know if I want to stick with the word weapon right now, but certainly feature. What is the design space for that feature? What is the intended use case? What are the expected applications of it? Where are these designed to fit into the gameplay? And this is where Pablo's comment of trying to square a circle kinda has me bouncing it back at them of, yes, it is about squaring a circle. Why have we got a circle to square? That is where I find myself at with these. Because it's not like they don't know what Warframe gameplay is. They made it. They've made Warframe gameplay as we currently have it. So was the intention to create artifacts that deal damage in a limited period, where you get it very infrequently in a mission, but it's not supposed to be a mission resolving effect in itself, and then it's supposed to provide you some buffs, but we've got to be very careful on the buffs that are given, because heaven forbid that also has its own effect. If I have a look at the Zergon, what actually are the upgrades we get on this? This makes it where enemies drop energy orbs if they're killed. This will make it where there's smaller beams firing off, so it's chaining. This will create some spectral pages, granting cast speed, strength, duration, and extra energy. This will give you ability, strength, duration, and cast speed granted by spectral pages increased further. Yep. And the pages fire off beams that blind enemies in 4 meters. Is that during this? not clear to me. I will need to, unfortunately, try it out to further understand that. Which means I just need to finish farming it all. It's a little hard for me to place.
Hello Ken. Related to farming ducats, you said a long time ago that the one thing you'd want to change with Warframe was void trace collection in missions. Have you had any idea on how to improve that?
It was never about void trace, it was always about reactant, Ray. Two separate things. To be clear, are you asking me about void traces, or are you asking me about reactant? Separate to that though, thank you very much for dropping your tier 3 sub here, much appreciated. Up onto 46 months. Much appreciated on that, Ray, cheers. Cheers indeed. The pages look like Zaku's gun stealing. I think it's going to be one of those things I just have to see to appreciate, yeah. Let's just throw us into a mission whilst I keep on labouring this point here a moment. So, first array, on the whole reactant side of things, my issue with reactant in the past had basically come down to there were too many times, or too many instances I was seeing of people not getting sufficient reactant in a mission through no fault of their own. D have made steps to improve on this in various ways. So they have increased the amount of reactant dropping from enemies just in general. They've flat 20% increased it, I think. And they've made it where the reactant drop rate or corruption rate of enemies in missions where the host just has a lower spawn rate, say on a low-end console, that has also been improved, which further addresses the issue. I don't know if the issue has been fully addressed, because I've not been doing that many Void Fishers in, dare I say, low return circumstances, because I got tired of doing low return circumstance fishes. So the issue kind of buries itself there, in a similar fashion to, oh, what's the point of expanding XYZ content? No one does XYZ content. Well, yeah, no one does it because it needs expansion. You see the catch-22? So yeah, my core focus on that really comes down to just make sure the system doesn't unreasonably punish the player who is trying, just because there might be a player who tries to break it. Now, that said, I do have to recognize that DE are working with a very difficult circumstance on that, and that very difficult circumstance I think is very well highlighted by the 2025 stats. For those of you unfamiliar, in the 2025 stats, the most kills of any primary weapon in all of Warframe, and I think any weapon in all of Warframe, was done by the Tenet Envoy.
Another job well executed.
If I just get the stats on that, Warframe 2025 stats, there it is. Yeah, any weapon, it is the number one. 9 billion kills with the Tenet Envoy. Now, granted, total enemies killed was 317 billion. So 9 billion is only 3% of that, but when you consider that we do have hundreds of weapons, for one weapon to have 3% of all kills, that's still pretty damn impressive. That is still pretty damn impressive. But, now here's the big but on that. Despite the Tenet Envoy having the most kills of every single weapon in the entire game, if I have a look at primary weapon usage, and just primary weapon usage, we have Torrid, Natruk, Burston, Exceltra, Cedo, Boltor, Ignis, Wraith, Tenet Archiplasmor, Fenmore, Felarx, Coda Base Assist, Boar Prime, Bratton Prime, Latron Prime, Strun Prime, Foreman Prime, Trunman Prime, Kuva Ogris, AX52, Soma Prime, and then the Tenet Envoy. In 21st place, 1.13% of 2025 usage is the Tenet Envoy. This comes lower than the Coda Base Assist that came out during 2025, granted as early as March, but still during 2025. This is lower than Cedo Prime, which came out with Lavos, Lavos Prime towards the beginning of the year. This is vastly lower than the Torrid at 9.62% usage, to Tenet Envoy's 1.13. And I want you to piece those bits together. The weapon with the most kills out of all of them has dropped in usage by 57% since last year, or the year before last now, and is ranked 21st out of the most used primary weapons. Most kills. Now, for starters, this shows that the usage stats, as they come to these other weapons, is based on something other than kills. Most likely it's going to be either number of missions run or time spent holding that weapon in a mission. It just goes to show that the Tenet Envoy kills far more enemies per moment of time, be it per mission or per time spent, than basically any other weapon. It's time and mission? Okay. It's time and mission. So the Tenet Envoy has the highest KPM. And not just highest, but an obscenely high KPM compared to the exceptionally powerful Torrid Incarnate. Is the Envoy that good? The Envoy is a very good weapon, but it isn't the strongest weapon in the game, not by any stretch of the imagination. It is simply a good weapon. It's a good AoE weapon with good ammo economy. And shortly after these stats were discussed on the Devstream and just highlighted in general, I noticed someone on the Warframe subreddit, they brought up a video showcasing a very particular cheese. And this very particular cheese is so destructive, dare I say, that I'm not going to tell you how it works or show you it on stream, because it'll be too close to encouraging AFK gameplay. That's how bad it is. And Ductile, you can join. Let me just get out of this.
You are here on a capture mission. You must find, capture, and extract our target.
In a nutshell, a person could get themselves in a position where they were basically out of bounds of the mission, but still in range for loot. They would then use the Tenet Envoy to kill enemies, whilst they themselves could not be harmed in the slightest. And I don't care how long the tech has existed for, I'm still not going to explain more than the absolute headliner of it.
Mission complete.
This is the kind of thing that DE are running up against. And I don't care how boring you think it is, Drummer. As much as you are correct, it is boring as shit to just basically stand in an immortal box and blow up the pixel in front of you forever. But it's not about being boring. It's about farming. It is about continuously farming AFK with minimum actual input, practically macroed.
Well done, Tenno.
And you can use that to gather up tradable items to create value. It is a serious issue for games in general, which have any kind of economy. That AFK strategies that can then be implemented far longer than a player usually or simply should be able to interact, can even be multiplied across multiple boxes. That gets bad quick. What's the point of playing a game and not actively playing it? No drama. There are many bad reasons. Many destructive reasons. It is basically a step aside from botting, if not actual botting involved. Also, Go Dragon, thank you very much for dropping your Prime here. Much appreciated. Welcome to Channel Proper, and enjoy your lovely blue sub badge and all the other bits and pieces that go along with that. Cheers indeed. So, when it comes to dealing with cheaters, dealing with AFKs, dealing with botters in a game like Warframe, in any online video game, The challenge is not just being able to find and catch people who are doing that, but to remove methods they can use to do it. And in terms of removing methods, a big part of that comes down to, unfortunately, hamstringing some of the options that your legitimate players would have enjoyed. Part of not having ultra room clearing setups that are of minimal interaction is to very literally deal with that kind of botting. When you see someone getting a 2-week trade ban for basically gathering too many resources in a mission for whatever reason, it could be that one of the indicators is how many resources did they get compared to how much they moved in the mission. I'm not saying that is an indicator, I'm saying that's an indicator that I would implement if I were to set up some kind of automated detection system. You hit enough of those indicators, that's now someone who needs to be locked down so they can be checked over. What's gone on there? Now, how quickly do you get around to dealing with that is its own separate issue, but that is the kind of thing that you're running up against. So, when it comes to reactant, which was where the whole conversation point started here, from Ray's point, when it comes to reactant, I am increasingly aware of the undesirable attitude a lot of individuals would want to bring to games like Warframe. An undesirable attitude that is seeking to abuse and consume the game. And it makes for a very difficult conversation. I noticed we still only have 3 people. Ductile failed to join. I didn't even realize that happened, Ductile. I'm so sorry. Let's try again.
On a capture mission. You must find,
let's try that again for you. I'm so sorry.
Target.
Let's see if that actually works this time. Also, Gorm, thank you very much for dropping your Prime here up onto 17 months. Much appreciated. Welcome into the channel once again there. And I hope you're doing well. Do I like rugs? I don't have a particular opinion on. Mirrorlay, please do not gift me some rugs in game. I do not really decorate my orbiter. I do not need rugs in game. Please don't do that.
Excellent work. We'll interrogate
God
the
damn, the mission's
back at
basically
base.
already done.
Your part is done here, Tenno.
The optional rugs are currently on sale. That'll be why Mirai brought it up. My answer remains the same.
You have collected enough reactants to open your relic.
It took me a moment to figure out where we're going with it, but yeah, we've seen this book. I recognize the cover of that story there, Mirrorlay. We don't need to go through those pages. Alrighty. Now, prior to our whole little bit on, unfortunately there are AFK abusers and they will break Warframe given the chance, in the ways you really don't want them to. Oops. Sorry, there's an essay from the drummer on the topics. Before we move on from it, I'm just saying, yeah, I know, personally, even if the farm's boring, I'd still do it because I'm spending time playing the game, the way it's meant to be played. I used to play competitive games like Overwatch and Apex. I stopped playing Warframe because I realized how much a burden they were to me. Now I play Warframe to relax and chill after a day at work. It's my antidepressant. Okay. I think you're looking at this from a gameplay perspective, and that is exactly the wrong thing. That's not what I'm on about. I am talking about people who will abuse the game to gather an unreasonable amount of resources, and if they set up these abuses, they can set up these abuses on multiple accounts at the same time to further get more than they should, to basically leech value out of the player economy, which is disastrous for everyone except those who don't mind buying from such AFK farmers. And that value, in terms of being leached out to the economy, usually then leads to real money trading. You see the point now? Yeah. To put it very bluntly, if I could set up an AFK farm and have no morals or qualms about it, if I could set up an AFK farm, it wouldn't even need to be good at it. If I could spin up an account that AFK farmed 20 hours a day, gotta have a few hours to make it look like there's some sleep, 20 hours a day, and it only farmed 20 platinum an hour. 20 platinum an hour, that's pathetic. A lot of farms are racking up like 100 plus plat per hour. 20 is pathetic. Yeah, and now I turn on 20 of those accounts. So we have 20 hours, 20 plat across 20 accounts, which comes out to a whopping 8,000 platinum a day. Interaction level, barely nil. This is part of why trade limits exist. This is part of why two-factor authentication is required to trade. This is part of why you can't even trade before you reach MR2. To deal with these kinds of abuses. When you add those bits and pieces up, it can start to become a lot. And like I say, I'm lowballing at a crappy 20 plat per hour. Genuinely crappy. It would have to be a bad setup to be that low return. I have an inbox message. Why do I have an inbox message? It's from Mirrorlade. What is it? It is the Ostron Rug Collection. Okay then. Racing, though I know several MR0s are suffering from that. Yeah, and again, that is an example of niche but legitimate gameplay being negatively affected by preventative measures. That unfortunately these steps have to be put into place to deal with such destructive individuals. Which is... yeah. It creates... It paints a picture of a different side of the game, a different side of the world that DE and other online devs have to deal with. It is rough. But separate from that, that was all in Race Point. That was nothing to do with Devstream details, but the 2025 stats in itself. The big thing I was focusing on just prior to that was about the Tauron strikes. And so far in running these relic fishers, I don't think I've seen someone use a Tauron strike. I don't think I've seen a need to use a Tauron strike, but that's because we're running really low relic fishers. I'm also basically not using my ability set. That's okay to an extent. When you're in a low intensity mission that is a very quick one, that is basically a solved condition, it makes sense that there's only a very limited selection of one's arsenal you'd even need to consider using. I'm fine with that. I don't expect my entire arsenal to be used in every single mission. I don't expect my entire arsenal to be used in any single mission for that matter. If you have a look at something like EDA and ETA, where they put some serious limits on how good your arsenal can be, there is some increased demand on making sure you have a good arsenal. But ultimately the same stuff applies of, so long as you've got something workable, you work with that. Very few people are making genuine, significant use of their primary, secondary melee, Warframe companion, heavy weapon, on-call crew, air support, and other details in one mission. Very few people. So it's fine for various parts of our arsenal, increasing parts of our arsenal, to have niche use and application. My issue is with the extent of the word niche. My issue is that with the design space being given to something that is unfortunately designed to suck. let's take the Nautilus piece. Why not? The Textless artifacts were designed as big flashy weapons. Big flashy weapons with residual effects thereafter. But if your big flashy weapon in a weapon-focused game, Warframe, isn't suitable as a weapon, maybe the design was just wrong. If your big ultimate that takes a few minutes to charge, in ideal circumstances, because I've got all of the focus lenses on as well, everywhere I can put them I'm putting focus lenses. If our ideal circumstance takes that long to charge and still isn't impactful, maybe the design is just wrong. Imagine if Heroes 4 was designed like that. Heroes 4 is kind of like that. If you don't put at least some effort into charging it, you don't get it. Straight up, you just don't get it. If you aren't picking up the runes, if you aren't shooting the marked target, if you aren't casting your 3, you just don't get your 4th ability on Uriel. But the effect is good. It is visually dramatic without taking too much away from the flow of the game. Yeah, there is a casting speed. There is a casting duration, I should say. But that casting duration happens relatively briefly on the spot. You still get to see where you're casting it. You are not taken out of the view. Its lingering effect is exceedingly visible. At least to the person who cast it. Obviously everyone else is kind of going, huh, what's this faint field right here? Something's going on. Yeah. You get this big effect with big results. And then we see the Textless artifacts, which have a big old charge up time, a lot of work to get there, just to even unlock them, and it's just done. Now, I could come up with 1,000 alternative ideas for what an operator ultimate could be. That is irrelevant. And because of that irrelevance, I'm not even going to do it here right now. I already have ideas knocking around in my head. I'm sure you, almost every single one of you, also have ideas knocking around in your head. Some of them we may be agreeing on, others will be completely different. I'm not going to go into a single one of those because that is completely unhelpful. And the simple reason being on that is that DE have a limited amount of dev time. We can't bombard them with ideas of what could be. Look at implementation difficulties already. They were trying to make wall running work because it was a cool idea, and they've had to just basically shelve the entirety of that. They've learned some things along the way that they can implement, like the ledge grab stuff, but wall running is very much with a bit of Steve I told you so there. It was he was trying to hold that back and be professional about it whilst also going, see, I was goddamn right. I respect that. I do respect that. Been there, done that myself, on both sides.
And bring them to the extraction point. Happy hunting.
Dev time isn't infinite. Development of things in Warframe is tough as shit. So, when it comes to the Tower artifacts and the Tower strikes, unless DE are down to make some radical changes to their very nature of what they do, weapons is what we've got. Weapons with afterbuffs is what we've got. So that's the design space I want them to really nail down, like, what is that supposed to really mean? For something with 5 million focus of investment, hours of Imperator Rebellion, after one of the latest quests in the entire quest line, what is that supposed to really mean? From Joe, don't get Uriel's second ability is a shield regen. It's more than that. I recommend you check out my Uriel guide. Exclamation mark Uriel. I go into the bits and pieces there. But suffice to say, let's see, that is the restoration ability. So yeah, it is for the devils, it is for Uriel themselves. It is a recovery ability, it's not just shields. You want to tell me I didn't connect the Uriel command? God damn it. Exclamation mark catalog to go to the catalog, or exclamation mark YouTube to just go straight to the YouTube channel. Evidently I did not create the Uriel command. My bad. I should do that after this mission. Hey, another gold. Love it. Right. There isn't a Banshee video, Mirrorlabe, you know this. Let's just grab the studio. Let's grab content, Uriel. Kind of weird I haven't got a Uriel command on this, but yeah, no, nothing whatsoever. That is weird. There we go, the command now exists. Did de-advertise there being a focus rework, even then there was just an expansion, says Ray? I don't know if they said at some point if it was a rework, or if they were responding to people asking about a rework and said they were working on focus. That is one of the difficulties of the kind of communication we get with DE, is that we end up kind of bouncing our expectations off of their responses to someone else's question of a slightly different topic. So I'm not certain on that. Hell, I wasn't even certain who spoke about the Tauron strikes on Friday. I got that mixed up, so yay memory. But in terms of the actual update we got, I'm fairly certain it was all about being a focus expansion. In fact, let's grab the patch notes on exactly that. Let's grab the update notes for the old piece. Let's grab their table of contents. Focus School Expansion. Yeah. With Tauron Strikes, new Focus School nodes, text list artifact upgrades. I would say Tauron Strikes and new Focus School nodes are basically the same thing, but yeah, there we are. So yeah, at least when it came to their final delivery of it, they were delivering an expansion, not a rework. Whatever was said prior to that, welcome to things being talked about prior to release. None of it exists until it exists. Thank you, Mirrorlight. It's part of the reason I actually have a bit of a mixed feeling on things like TennoCon reveals, dev streams, dev shorts, all that lot. I do enjoy and appreciate the interaction we effectively get with the community, the DE team. They're interacting with the community, they're showing what they're doing, they are at least hearing some of our collective responses as we go on. And in terms of dev teams, they are basically one of the absolute best in doing that. But it does mean we end up hearing bits and pieces that either change or just never happen. As I look here, I'm reminded as to one point, many years ago, the phrase modular Archwing was thrown around. And D to this day still get beaten with that stick from time to time. And I have to look at modular Archwing with a kind of similar lens as what I'm looking at Tauron Strikes with, of what would the design space be? What would the purpose be? Sounds cool, now it's something we see in basically any media ever. Sounds cool, now what? It's a big damn deal. That is where you go from person with ideas to actual goddamn design. And it ain't easy. It ain't easy.
Success. The captive is safely in our hands. Congratulations, Tenno.
Hell, look how long it took me to make the D&D Warframes. That was well over a year.
The relic has been cracked open. Finish your mission to find out what's inside.
To be honest, including gaps where I discontinued work on the project for some time, better part of 2 years. Yeah. Strange animalistic noises ahead of me. I will skip past all of that. Yeah, but it comes back to the singular thing of we have the Talon Strikes. They are a thing. They've been released. We have it. What is their actual purpose? What is the design space they see them being used in? How much do they expect players to care for the amount of effort we are putting in to get there? And to be very honest, how much of it has been held back by design limitations, if at all? And that last one I don't expect an answer on because it is an exceedingly vulnerable thing to answer. But yeah. As I'm saying, am I weird for one for thinking they'd be fine with relatively minor tweaks? It depends on just how many relatively minor tweaks you do before the entire landscape of them has changed. How did this even... Thank you, Mirat. Mirat, you're in a very gift bundle mood at the moment. Thank you very much for the skins on various Nightwatch related weapons. Cheers. Do I have an all-round vault build? Let's see, do I? Yes! Also, wow, I was apparently a bit tired when I wrote that command. Exclamation mark vault. Here. Hands you link. Okay. But yes, I do. There you go. As I say, in my case, just speeding up the animations a bit. Define a bit. Just. And extending the buff duration. Define, extend. And I don't mean that means increase. It's, again, the blend of ideas to results. You want the animations to be quicker, you want the buffs to be longer. Okay, now how much quicker? How much longer? When is it good? And to be a little bit snide, if they're that simple, why was it not done in the first place? Because if it's little things like that, just speed things up a bit, one would imagine a person playtesting it would have gone, huh, if only this was a bit faster. And then the person designing it would go, huh, you know, you're right. And then they just try it with those numbers, and it's fast, and they go, wow, that actually is better. Alright, we'll ship it as that then. Now, I realise I'm being snide there. I'm being downright negative at that level of it. But it is to counter the concept of it's just small tweaks. Little things are not obvious? No, that's why you have playtesters. That's why you have your QA. That's why you have your development time. It's why you get paid the money as a business to do the stuff. With the Texas artifacts, they are late stage acquisition based on quests. Yeah, they've made the quest line quicker to get through. Does that mean we should start devaluing quest loot? But then you don't even get them from the quest, you get permission to start getting them from the quest. And from the quest, they get you halfway towards unlocking the base of one of them. Which is just a choice. To then spend the hours getting them. And improving them. To get the utility that you get out of it. It's just... it does feel particularly odd, is my main takeaway from it, as to how they've been implemented. I know I'm sounding like a right negative Nancy right now. I respect that, and I kind of hate it myself. but I am also trying to be realistic. I can't just focus on the good all the time. Descendi was great fun to go through. Next video I have planning to come out on YouTube is also an absolute glazer, because I've got something to go yes about, and that is the vibe of the next video. I'll give you no further detail on that. You can just wait for it to come out.
We received intel that somebody vital to enemy operations.
But when there's good, and I can be happy about it, it means when there's bad, I do need to firmly address it. Otherwise, I'm a shill. And ew. Just ew is my response to that one. Democracy say, I just want to know, lore-wise, how we're pulling Savoris and the like direct from our brains. It's coming from the same place as the music. That's one of those video gamey looter-shooter aspects where we really just kind of have to go. Don't think about it. I would say the better question is, why do we need to go to someone in 1899 to pull the weapons out of the void? That'd be my question. That is one of my questions. So I think that's really introduced. Okay. Can't have that much power to the player. We're plenty powerful already. We are plenty powerful already. That was exactly one of the things that Pablo said, that in terms of rune clear capabilities, there's just we're there. Our ability to obliterate is already overwhelming. Yeah, that was an upside down one. That was weird, Ali. Huh. I would like to remind the gamer that gameplay elements like that are designed by the game developer. And so I have a reserved level of sympathy if one finds himself running up against too much power. Yo! Oh my word, that is one hell of a raid there from our buddy Saminator. Can we please get a shout out for Saminator, because they absolutely deserve it. Welcome on in. Hope you've had yourself a wonderful stream. Hope you managed to get through that lovely long farming list you had, because my way, you did have yourself quite that farming list there, did you not? How is it going? I have another inbox message. What is it this time? It is Miralabe. Miralabe, what is going on here? Help me out. Miralabe, what is going on here today? Plus. And I really do mean plus. As I've said, oh, believe it or not, only got a third of it done. Had to end due to vision issues, sadly. I'm sorry to hear that. At the very least, you did manage to get a fair chunk of it, but yeah. I hope that turns around quickly enough for you there. But all the same, thank you very much for bringing your community over. I am in the middle of ranting and farming, and it is a lovely, lovely combo. So, if you're here for rants and farms, I've got you that aplenty. And in fact, on that point there, Saminator, have you farmed all 5 Tectalis artifacts? Have you acquired all 5 of them and upgraded them? Just as a general point of curiosity, if you are happy to share as much. Certainly have. Cool. Do you remember how long it took you? If indeed you were measuring the amount of time it took to get there? To go with the super cool outros? Oh, thank you. I do try to make some interesting couplets on the way out. Fun facts on that, actually. For those of you who may have noticed in a recent video, I didn't use the usual Kenjinir intro that I've been using for years. The whole, I'm the Kenjinir, let's solve a practical problem. And that is honestly an experiment. An experiment to see
Hello there.
how
Been
that
a year
affects...
and 3 months already.
Sorry. should not have interrupted. Hello, Mantis. Thank you very much for dropping your sub here. And tier 2, no less. Much appreciated there. Hope you've had yourself a wonderful weekend as well. You are indeed up onto that lovely 15 months. Cheers, Mantis. Yeah, with the YouTube intro, I know that a lot of people love it. I also know that a lot of people don't love it. It is a simple fact. I do notice on my viewer retention that a number of people skip past it.
Mission complete.
And I am experimenting with having some videos that don't have it. It is a very simple experiment to basically see, does that do better or worse for them? It's not something I have properly experimented with before. I've done it in a couple videos here or there, but not enough to call it an experiment. So that is exactly what I'm doing. You guys want Mantis been with us longer? No. Mantis really made a name for themselves quickly here, didn't they? A good name, of course. Yeah, I think I missed the point there from Sam. Maybe about 2-3 weeks. Wasn't much of a hardcore farm. Made sure to get my daily boost of it from Marie. Ah, yes. So I'll be quite honest, I've not paid too much attention to that. Ah, Karina bees, nice. You're very right, yeah, you can pick up those bits and pieces from there. I think we had a short... Not sure about that, was it with you or was it with Xenos? One of the two of you. Short Nitanator on that side of things, because if I just bring up Marie's page... items... Yeah, so you get 15 of the particular resource, which is less than one run, but still, yeah. But it costs you a bunch of the more common resources you just kind of gather from going through Perita. Yeah. Some say my main concern with Perita Rebellion is actually what to do with the area after you have the artifacts. Since other locations still have more reason to do it, bounty, standing, higher value arcanes, rewards to resell, etc. Yeah. Yeah. And you're right. It ends up where you spend a lot of time there to get that, and then if you don't enjoy it, you're being dragged through it for many hours, as far as I'm concerned. And if you do enjoy it, then what? Miralabe, thank you very much for the gifted sub over to Saminator. Much appreciated there, Miralabe. Thank you very much for taking away the ads for Sam's purposes here. From Clashpoint saying that the player is plenty powerful is an argument I don't like because the following. It discourages more additions to the game. Which is not the mentality you have, yeah. They did design this specific element to be a power game, yeah. Which is meant to deal damage, look epic. If your epic big damaging ability does no damage, then it's bad. It doesn't deal no damage, which we can attempt to appreciate. Let's go to a different location for our next run. Just whilst we continue the thought here, let's go to a different one. Let's go to this one here. Yeah, Sam, I get where you're coming from, honestly, and I do agree to an extent there that in terms of at least action variety, it's a very active mission with different objectives going on. You've got very much of a pace to it. It does make it less of a burnout in that regard. I do absolutely see that. I think my issue more stems from not... Yeah, it's two separate issues. You got the one side of once you're done, now what? Which is a problem. And the other side is, okay, but if you want to get these things, that's all you've got in terms of progression. It is there or there.
Respect. Honor them with
those are, I would say, not two opposing issues, just two different issues in the same location. I'm going to grab this area. If that makes sense. So I should be on... Yep, I'm on Maduro, that's good. So I'm currently at something like 16% charge because of my initial charge. That's just what I get. Oops, I'm still on my slow fire rate because I forgot to adjust fire rate with Eevee. My bad. Hope you'll receive an expansion content reward similar to 1909. Yeah, we'll honestly see. I expected to know something in that direction with the Devstream, but... Well. Actually, I don't think they really mentioned Parita during the Devstream. Yeah, they said... Sorry, yeah, they did mention it. They were adding some more of the tiles that they didn't get a chance to add on release. You're very right. Good catch, Drummer. That was the mention. Tough content somewhere. True. I'll be honest, I glaze over those because I'm not a boss fight person, so a ultra hard mode boss fight just kind of gets me. But yeah, my summary is inaccurate. I take that back. They mentioned extra tiles, which is cool, and a hard mode boss fight. Set of them, I guess.
That's it. You opened the relic.
Alright, Sam, you take care.
We'll take a look inside.
Thank you very much once again for raiding on in. Those of you who haven't already done so, make sure you are following the Saminator, a fellow content creator in the Warframe space, and certainly just another pleasant person to listen to when I am not live. Because of course y'all will be here first. We know. Alright. I am at just over 50% charge. Just over 50%. Here we go. Got our next orb. That puts me at now like 90%. Let's try and actually make that 90% happen. And 400. I need to chase down these enemies. We haven't got high enemy density here. We got some decent chunks of them. But it's not like it's a survival mission for oodles of them. Excuse me. Trying to make use of the last few seconds of the focus orb. If I don't get it in these next few seconds, then I'm just going to have to wait for the next orb. And yeah, I've not made it. Okay then, I might just about tick over between orbs. Now, this was one of the issues I raised on my first bit of digest of this technical listing post Devstream. Is not only have I not started the mission with access to this, and we've already basically completed a round before it's come about. If I'm between focus orbs, I'm just not gaining any real progress. It might as well just not exist. Very, very, very nearly there. But now, if I pick up a focus orb, which would give me like a 30% or so boost, I will instead gain 1% and the entire rest of it will be completely wasted. And if I then don't immediately use the Taron Strike, all of the extra gain I'll get during that focus orb as well will also be wasted. And every bit of gain thereafter until I use the Taron Strike. So if you wanted to time your usage of it to have it in a more suitable place. Oh, here he is. There we go.
But still I speak. I am energy, and I cannot be destroyed.
Yeah, if I were to want to hold the Taron Strike until the right time, I'm just missing out on charging for a while, which is... let's go for the Atlas one, actually. There we go. And let us continue. Just grab that relic again. I mind not. Still plenty of Void Traces needed to max that out. That's all good. From Rogue Potion, do I have to mess up my Kubelich 4 or 5 times to get to level 5? 4. So, upon stabbing your Kubelich, if it is not the correct combination, it levels up. Once it levels up 4 times, it will be at its maximum level 5. So you need to screw it up 4 times. Further to that, I believe they also level up if you just avoid them continuously and then clear every single node on the planet. I think that levels them up as well. But they should turn up before then every single time, so it's kind of a moot point. There we go. Right, I have my Tower on Strike. Let's see about a good location for it. Let's paint this defending location. Actually, it looks like the enemies are trying to focus more onto location D, which they do tend to do. So let's use this here. Did I hit anything? Let's have a look. Strength bonus? Yeah. 50% strength bonus, so I hit at least 10 enemies with that. Wasn't particularly clear to me, but I did definitely hit them with it. Cool. Do you see the arrows? Did you see the arrows raining down on that guy from my text list artifact? Oh, I think it's Renown. Yeah, I think it's actually Renown now. Okay, cool. I hope you saw it. That was it. That was it. I had to slow down my actions a lot there to be able to first of all see them and hear them, and then to also just kind of take stock of the damage they weren't doing.
The relic has been cracked open. Finish your mission to find out what's inside.
Which is recommending you check out the Engineer. I mean, that is a damn good recommendation right there. Yep. I am all for that. 100%. Now, there may be some of you here that disagree with that. Why? Yeah. Yeah, here's a weird one like that, Logrin. I've had Twitch recommend the opposite to me. I've had Twitch recommend to me that a number of my viewers who come from raids from other channels, they're watching Warframe. So maybe I should do a Warframe stream. I shit you not. Twitch recommended I do some Warframe streams. There is a certain level of impressive of that level of uselessness. Oh boy. Alright, Tower on Strike is about 2/3, so it's going to be a minute before I can use it again. Might be 2 minutes actually. Can't use it now. Can't use it for cleanup. It's just kind of there. Oh, I've gone invisible. Okay. That's cool. You heard Warframe's a decent game? Yeah, it's pretty chill. It is pretty chill. I have heard it can be a bit of a goon fest. Y'all wouldn't know anything about that now, would you? There's nothing inappropriate in Warframe, is there? Wouldn't want to be streaming anything inappropriate now, would we? So long as it is just shooting and killing and murdering, we'll be fine. Can't possibly have anything that people would enjoy. Let us continue. More relic. Do not check Ember's heirloom. Understood. I shall instead equip a very particularly coloured Dex Wisp skin. That'll be fine. Might even use a core animation. No reason. You know, just science. I hit random. That's what it was. Definitely. Just remember my Wisp guide? Yup. The Cyandana stays on. I got a lot of comments on that. In both directions. I got a lot of comments on the Cyandana stays on for Wisp. Oh dear. As I'll say, I literally have seen only discussion about Folly from the Devstream, not gonna lie. So, when it comes to Folly, I'll be quite honest at this point, there is nothing to discuss. There is the concept of a painter frame and the appearance of a painter frame. In terms of appearance, cool, go for it. Yeah, that does look very peculiar, which, you know, Warframes do look their best when they look at least a little bit peculiar. And painter theme? Well, I mean, we'll just have to see how that theme comes together. It's certainly not one that's been explored so far. I can think of a perfect piece of short music to go with that. If I were to do a short on it. Oops, did I leave this one to crack? My bad. Sorry. But outside of that, there's not really anything to comment on at this point. We don't actually know her kit. We don't know her story. We just know her name. Folly. And otherwise, general default appearance. Okay. So at that point, Tom, I have to wonder what circles are you in if that's all you're hearing? How little else have people got to talk about in your circles? You're not lurking in the comment section of a YouTube short again, are you, Tom?
Well done, Tenno. Your relic is open.
Yeah. Zom is exactly doing that. Oh, Zom! Zomtronic! Full naming you on this one. How dare? What are you doing complaining about the cesspit that is Twitter as if we didn't already know years ago? On ye own head be it. Yeah, well put, Clashpoint, well put. That's a misuse of free will. You will find no sympathy here for that one, Zom. Yeah. I got there in time, guys. I got there in time. I can hit the Acolyte. I can hit the Acolyte. How many enemies did I hit with that? 3. Does the Dakota base still hold up? Exactly as it did on release, yes. No buffs, no nerfs, no change. Yeah, no. I sadly probably should have expected the kind of discourse that's happened outside of this community. Outside of the Kenjaneer community, that is, with regards to Folly. That is the folly of others to deal with. If it's in a purely public space like Twitter, don't give time and energy to those who are problematic. If it is within a creator's space, it is up to the creator to manage that. To set expectations. And to acknowledge that you will get problem individuals in comment sections regardless. Deal with them how you see fit. But I'm not going to focus on it that much, really. Zom is now just focusing on fan art. So Zom, I'm going to just leave you there. In the whole, you're not really communicating, I'll be quite honest. Yeah. Make a point. And actually finish the point. Okay, let's get our next one. From Passwordente. Hello guys, I have a quick question. I made a build with Mesa using a 1-2 nuke with Cedo, fair enough. Now a problem to survive level cap Cascade, I believe. I overrode a 4 for that build. What do you guys think of more survivability? I thought about Amamori from Kome or Gloom. I don't really have advice for you, sorry. I don't build for level cap, I don't do level cap runs, they are of no interest to me. Which means that in terms of guiding your unique build, of doing a pseudo nuke Mesa for level cap Cascade, I straight up have no suggestion to make on that one. If I'm quite honest. Baroni, honestly, don't waste your mental time on it. Not worth. Alright, gonna see when I can get my next tower on strike. I realise I've not been focusing enough on the focus orbs, because they are a little out of the way of where I'm looking, I'll be honest. I've gotten used to ignoring them, having had focus basically capped out for a while. As much as I can, I'll try and remember to grab those and progress towards the next ult. Grab more of that for the accent. And where is the focus orb? I feel like one should have been due by now. Have I just completely missed one?
You have collected enough reactors to open your relic.
Now, next thing of note that we've not talked about a lot so far is the changes coming into the adversary system, most notably with the Requiem mods, because there's no changes, to my understanding, coming to getting a Kubelich started, and the same with Ace Strapava. It's still going to be the same process as what you've communicated so far. You still go through whichever capture mission, because they are just the fastest and most efficient way of doing it, and you run them until your desired weapon leveling combo pops up, and then off you go. In terms of actual mechanics to start a Kubelich journey, it is just run mission, guy spawn, stab guy. Not exactly the most involved process, is it? But with the change to the Requiem relics, that is an interesting one. Yeah, what you said now clarifies your point. It absolutely was not even slightly clear earlier. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, when it comes to the change to the Requiem relics, I must have missed a focus orb. I possible to focus on that. The Requiem relics as they currently stand, you have a 11% chance of one of the Requiem mods, 11% of the other one, so it's 22% total on an intact relic. If you upgrade it, you can get that all the way up to 40% total, so it's 20% per. That is the best you can get out of relics as they currently stand. So a specific one would be at best 20%. Right, let's do that. Hi, Pauline. I don't have a text list charge, so I'm just going to have to shoot you. There we go. Now with the new relics, that's going to be a 1 in 8 chance, no modification possible, of a particular Requiem mod. So if you are trying to farm a particular one, those relics are worse. Fun fact. They go from unupgraded 11% to 12.5, slightly better. Upgraded 20% down to, again, 12.5. Definitely a trade-off there. However, if you don't care which Requiem mod you get, or if you don't have an abundance of relics, then it is a straight-up improvement. If you get a random 1 in 4 relic, then there's a 3 in 4 chance that you just don't have a chance at the Requiem mod you wanted in the first place. Whereas getting a Omni relic, you always have a chance at it. when you factor that into account, you go from a 20% at best, but it's 5% actuality, to a 12.5% every single time for a particular mod. Which largely means that if someone is well equipped with Requiem Relics, and well equipped with Void Traces, the chance of them getting a desired Requiem mod goes down, but the chance of them getting a Requiem mod goes up. For someone who is not well equipped with Variety Relics, then both the chance of getting a desired mod and any mod straight up goes up. It's an interesting one. Only saying, plus we can always buy the old relics with Riven Souls and Paladino and Iron Wake. D did mention that. They didn't mention the prices. They didn't mention any daily or weekly limits. So, given that Paladino does run weekly limits, remains to be seen how they're implementing that. Oh shit, I'm being hammered. There we go. I must be missing every single focus orb at the moment. I know it's not the most standout of things, but oopsies. I seem to be missing all of them now. Nothing I would say, it'll also make it easier to trade for any particular mod, because the amount of mods people have will increase. Yeah. More mods will be entering into the economy than before, and shouldn't be a greater variety of mods, no, it should be the same, because it's just the way that map will work out. Oops. But yeah, more mods should be entering the economy there, so that will potentially make them cheaper. Potentially. Drops through the roof. Yeah, we've gained a few, haven't we? 44. Okay, we're getting a couple. Just a couple. I imagine D would put a purchase limit simply because, yeah, some people do have a shit ton of Riven Slivers. And without tanking the mod market to absolute zero, they'll probably want to slow our purchase rate down on that. I could be wrong. They could end up going, it's unlimited, they're 20 slivers per, or whatever price they choose. Who knows? I'm very late linking it. Let's see. I'm currently on, 3.8k myself. Mirrorlabe's on 54,000 Lord. Yeah, this is exactly why you can't buy infinite ribbons with your Riven Slivers. People like Mirrorlabe because you would instantly crash the market. It's 5,000 Riven mods Mirrorlabe could add to the market. 1,000. And that's one Mirrorlabe. Now, of interest to me is that DE have not made any mention of any change to the starting of the whole process of getting a Koopa Lich. Yeah, getting hold of the mods. Certainly, if you're on a new player run, you've not got any mods in the first place, it is a pain in the ass because you basically need to get a full set in order to adequately combat a Lich. Until you know exactly which 3 you're working with, you basically just need the lot of them. And onto your next Lich, the chance of you using more than one of the same one again is actually pretty low. But once you've got the mods with 3 charges apiece, that actually does you for quite a few Liches. Until you hit one of them that is needed 4 times over, and even then, an ul can somewhat fix that for you. It's kind of curious. Do you basically need to near enough finish getting a hold of all the bits and pieces before you can do more than one run? But once you've done that, you can do like half a dozen runs, no concerns whatsoever. It's an oddity. With a full suite of 8 mods, 3 pips on them. That is... I want to say that's 8 takedowns in total, isn't it? On average. During which time you'll pick up more relics, no problem whatsoever. If you just kind of crack them at your legend near enough then. Oh, hi, Violence. Hi, Violence. No, it's the starting of a journey. I'm kind of surprised that hasn't been touched on. Either to have some way, some optional purchase to lock in a particular item. Like say if you went to Paladino and said, hey, can you do some ritual or something? I don't know. Or if they made the process perhaps a little bit more involved, but then you got to choose which weapon there. That is down. Now he was up. What's the method acquisition for the Kuva relics again? So you get some of them from Mercying Thralls. And you otherwise get them from doing the Kuva Flood and Kuva Siphon missions. If I recall correctly, the relics from the Thralls was added later. If I recall correctly. Yeah, getting the whole process started then. It's like, if I were to try and get the new Kuva weapon, not the new Kuva weapon, the Kuva Gulsaw, it's added to the game. If I were to try it right now, I've already had some of the pop up. Some of the Kuva weapons, just because of general gameplay, I've had Kuva larvae spawn, so I'd actually get there relatively quick. That's nice. But say instead I wanted to get a Kuva Brahma. Well, for all I know, I've already seen a Kuva Brahma. In my most recent set of Kuva Larvings, I may have already seen a Kuva Brahma and passed over it because I didn't want to start that Kuva journey. And so that's removed it from the pool. So now I'd have to go through all of the other weapons not yet removed from the pool, including the new one or ones when added, then reset the pool, which it does automatically and invisibly, to then go through again until the Kuva Brahma pops up. And we optimize that by running capture missions on Cassini on Saturn because, let's face it, it is objectively the fastest way to do it. Our gameplay loop is to run a capture, be upset at the capture, repeat. Doesn't feel like the most engaging way to start the journey. I suppose it gets you ready for the idea of tedium, doesn't it? I don't know, maybe something to address that would be cool. Clash was saying they sold it for Coda but didn't go back and easily fix it for everything else. Not sure why. Coda might have been an experiment for them. It might be they're not giving the dev time to making those changes. There's not been any comment on it one way or the other, so we can only speculate. I don't know if Coda method is necessarily the way. From Coda saying this isn't even bringing up there. Unlike Coda as well, you have to play isolated Kuva 10 ambitions, where only Kuva players also doing that. Yeah, fair point. When it comes to the acquisition for the coders, you get a currency from it, and then you go ahead and use that to purchase the weapon. And honestly, yeah, that is a perfectly fine system. I don't know if D want more of the currency system, where it's all one process in and out, or if they want to stick with the re-rolling acquisition process that we do with the what do you call it? With the Kuva weapons and Tenet weapons. I honestly don't know what they prefer. To be quite honest, I don't know what players prefer. Do people enjoy the coda system because it's a better system, or because it's overall just a faster system? Time is a huge component of that. Oh, I didn't just shoot the Xmas. That was silly of me. You know, every now and then I remind myself that I'd like to see a focus orb, but every now and then I look around, there's not a single one around me. I must have been missing every single one of them so far. I'm trying to keep it in mind whilst also talking about what I'm talking about, whilst also doing the mission. I'll be honest, I am.
Finish your mission and we'll take a look inside.
I let her say, honestly, I like the sister system better than Coda. Okay, why? Just out of curiosity, you've stated your preference. Why? And if someone disagrees on that, why? When it comes to the Coda liches, my biggest gripe with them is the fact that we basically have 3 missions in the exact same tile the entire time. That is my singular issue when it comes to the Coda process. It is Legasite Harvest, Exterminate, Survive. Repeat. That bit stinks. I should say, the Coda shop feels less cool to me. Being stuck at one tile so it feels bad, but subjective. They aren't actually faster, just simpler. I would say they are actually faster, but okay. And farm for 60%, so cosmetics is actually way worse. Yeah. I don't know if the farm for 60% is worse so much as delayed. Because yes, you can't farm more than 1 copy of a weapon in any 8-day window. Yeah. 8-day cycle, I should say. 8-day window, you can fudge the numbers to make that work, but shush. Yeah, there is definitely that restriction there. And interestingly, D have addressed the 25 to 60 bias. Oh, hello. The 25% to 60% bias. And that is that previously, or currently, the lower percentages are favoured. They're doing away with that and making it a simple flat RNG line rather than a curve, which is an interesting thing. But they're still keeping the RNG because, as I've said many a time on this stream and just in general discussion for Warframe and games in general, RNG just is more interesting. Not because it's strictly better. In fact, getting the 60% straight away would be, on a technical level, better. But RNG is more interesting because it grabs onto that part of the lizard brain and just goes... Yeah. Think of that what you will. It should say, distant math, on average takes 21.7 liches to get every ephemera, but 45.5 to get every Coda 1, both without trading. Okay, is that because there's just more cosmetic bits to get? Because you're talking ephemeras between 2 entirely different systems there. So is that worse, or is that just because you don't value the alternatives available to you? Which, completely valid so, but so I understand the stats you are claiming. This will be your last round, Ellie? That's absolutely fine, yeah, we'll wrap up this mission on this one. We've had a very good run. In part because there's more, the big thing is you can aim for one ledge by picking an element, but Coda is pure RNG. True, there is that, yeah. Yeah, you can decide you want a certain group of cosmetics when it comes to the first 2 sets, but not with Codas. Codas, you just get one of the pile. That is very true. How many Argon and how many slivers at the end of this mission? We'll find out at the end of it, won't we? It's going to be more than a few. Definitely more than a few. How am I doing on the void traces? Yeah, we'll see at the end. I'm trying to check more often to see is there a focus orb around. The sound of it spawning is apparently not triggering my ears anymore. Just haven't paid enough attention. They are still spawning, aren't they? Or am I missing them, or have they stopped spawning? I'm probably just missing it, knowing who I am. Where are my focus orbs? It's not been one for Mirror Lake. Okay. See, this I'd classify under bug rather than design, if indeed it is the case, but still it's like, Grimpat saying, especially with Elemental Vice being a thing, you can choose your elements entirely with a feminine mind, or get your first set of Kira and Tenet weapons. I suppose. You do need to get a weapon up to max level before you can Vice it, but yeah, you're absolutely right. You can just then flip it around thereafter, and the only upgrading you need is to the total percent on it. Does it not register I have lenses equipped? The same was happening earlier. Why would it not register I have lenses equipped? I mean, I've gained a bunch of focus here, you can see that. Looks like we are done, yeah. Yeah, why not? Grab the Death Cube piece. Why not? Let's see, Riven for Coda base assist, it's multi-shot, toxin, fire rate, and a negative. Multi-shot, toxin, fire rate is a good Riven. I wouldn't say it's a great one. Partly because just the stats on it can't be very high. But it is a good one because you're able to combine useful bonuses, multi-shot and fire rate, alongside an element that then means you can skip an element mod. For toxin, it's particularly great because it means you can get cheap, low percent viral to go alongside a high percent electrical heat. Worth using a reroll until it gets better? Oh wow, only you can really decide that one. Only you can decide that. GG Ellie, thank you very much for being in on the missions there. We got a whopping 670,000 credits. Woo! 31 steel essence, very, very nice. And gained some relics back in the process. Various bits and pieces, but let's have a look at some of these shinier numbers. 58 argon crystals. 438 void traces. 92 riven slivers. And an Aya to top it all off. Very, very nice. And all that in 38 minutes and 57 seconds. Well, isn't that cute? We narrow it down to primes. Primes received 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. Yep, 8 rounds, 8 primes. About 1 every 5 minutes, which is just how that goes. With a little bit of a shorter than that. Yeah, Chris, in terms of your Riven, honestly, it just comes down to what are your cube supplies, what are you trying to achieve with the Riven? Because if you don't know what you're trying to achieve with the Riven in the first place, there's no point rolling it. When are you going to be happy? You have no idea. So understand what you want from the Riven first, then decide if you want to roll to that. The way you go about rolling, the point at which you stop rolling really does depend on that plan you have. Which is exactly why when it came to this Riven, I rolled it 175 times. It took 175 rolls for me to get it one teeny tiny bit better than what I had after 16 rolls. 159 more rolls of a Riven, which is times number 556,500 Kuva. 500,000 Kuva and then some went into changing this Riven from being already good enough, but with electricity, and I wanted it to have heat. That is why I say, Chris, you need to understand what you want from your Riven before you go rolling, because how will you know when you've got there? When certain things can cost a lot. Ouch! That is a 930 roll Riven for those of you on a small resolution. 930 rolls to end up with crit chance, crit damage, and no negative. And those are the stats of the Boltor Prime. What goes into the crit support build for Sentinel weapons? Was that on this one? Nope. That was on. I think I changed it out. Was it on Sentinel weapons you're about? Who? Not sure. In terms of crit support on a Sentinel, what it really comes down to is... Yeah, I did have a crit support tab here. It was main and crit support, but I've since named it to synth and fired up. Because it just wobbles this. Now that I have the Riven on my Verglas Prime, so I can use the Verglas Prime for both builds. But what it basically came down to is that the crit support one was for when I have equipped a crit-based companion weapon to activate Tenacious Bond. I think with that build then, I also didn't have Assault Mode on because there's no point in attacking with a high crit weapon because the high crit weapons suck. And if not that, then also not fired up and also not Contagious Bond. So it was focused on generally just supporting stuff. If it was a crit support companion with no Riven, it was very much a non-combat stat boosting companion. To that end then, other things you can include would be... let me see here. You wouldn't go for Duplex Bond. That would be a waste of your time, quite frankly. Manifold Bond... That's on very specific companions. It wouldn't apply to Worm, so it wouldn't have been on that. Momentous Bond to bring the companion back sooner? Probably, yes. Despite the damage buff being wasted on it, getting your companion back quicker so you get your supports back, it's a nice thing to have. Synth Deconstruct, if I'm not using Assault Mode, it's pointless. So, as much as it can provide that value, not worth it. It would probably be then... Let's see, we've got Prime Regen. Guardian is a nice one to have. Basically just a free extra life after your shield gate pops on health tanks especially. Yeah, little bits like that. Medi-Ray, if you wanted to put in some passive healing in there, is a cute little bit. Shield Charger could be a cute little bit of support as well. Those kinds of bits and pieces, it was just a support setup. I hope that makes sense. But, now it is built for what Verglas Prime with a Riven is very good at. Bird.
Is there a reason for using unprimed Animal Instinct, or is it just old build?
Looks like it's an old build. Grumpy Pants, thank you very much for the prime there, up onto 7 months, much appreciated. Yeah, I think originally it was a tighter setup, and so that was the downgrade to allow things to fit, rather than spending a whole ass extra former. But now that I've shifted things around, may have even put another former into it, can't remember. Yeah, you're very right, I can just upgrade that one now. You're very right. Thank you very much, Grumpy Pants, for continued support on the channel. Much appreciated. And yeah, this now, Synth is the go-to because the health will drop and the Synth bonus is nice. If I want it to just... If I want it to just murder, Fired Up is just murder. You had no idea I was about to TTS? Oh, don't worry about it. You're resubbing. You get the opportunity to make some noise there. And doing it for a question is far, far better than whatever Esprit seems to come out with from time to time. I swear that man just spends a couple months prepping each one. Testing somewhere. From Zom saying, for viewers at home, Duplex is pretty nuts if you use Tazakor or Hellstrom. Yes, but that would be a critical build. So, you're right. Entirely different setup at that point. Entirely different. Okay, Koki then. What are the Void Tracers actually up to now? Also, we have a Logren doing Logren things. PS that. Okay. Void Tracers are now up to 1232. Very nice. We've gained like 1,000 traces today, which is definitely nice to say. I've also been chatting a lot of chatter along the way. From Drax, hey, how do you arrive to survive with Lavos? I think you're asking how do I stay alive with Lavos? Just so I understand. My go-to approach is Adaptation, Umbral Set, Arcane Grace. And otherwise just kill the enemies. Yeah. This tank works very well face tanking, even into Steel Path. If you get into much higher levels though, once you're at like level 400 plus, you have to start putting in more effort again. So that's where you start using cold procs to control enemies, radiation procs to get enemies to focus on each other, healing more using your Ophidian Bite, stay more mobile, utilizing cover, that sort of thing. But out to level 300 or so, you're face tanking basically everything with that. Yes, it is a 4-mod investment into that side of things, but by that same token, the sheer amount of armor can now also work with Primary Bulwark, so that's a damage bonus. Adaptation is just generally nice to have. Intensify is also a strength bonus, which is very nice to have. And let's face it, Arcane Grace is ridiculously powerful for what it does. So, yeah. With the triple Umbral build and 2,115 armor, why not Persistence, ask a couple of people? And that's a very good question. Why not Persistence? So Persistence would need to replace Arcane Consequence, for starters. If you're replacing Arcane Consequence, you are now slower. You are now navigating missions more slowly, more glacially, so if you are in anything like Pirates Rebellion, if you are moving through a Void Fissure, you are worse at it. That's just a fact. You take down your mobility, you get through missions slower. There's no contest on that. In terms of Arcane Persistence, it also removes your shield and shield gate, which takes away further opportunities for you to tank those heavy surprise shots out of nowhere. So you do lose a little bit further on that side. When you are using Arcane Persistence, you'll then discover just how well a health tank already tanks. If you don't already know, that is. For example, we had someone in a previous stream expressing that Arcane Persistence reduces damage to 500 health lost per second, and then abilities like Eclipse kick in. They genuinely believe this because tanking with things like Eclipse was actually just so good, they weren't needing persistence whatsoever. They genuinely thought persistence was bugged in their favor, but actually it was just their health tank was already good enough. Arcane persistence is only when you're at the scale of a mission where, one, you can out-heal that kind of incoming damage, if it's locked to losing 500 health per second, and two, you're in a situation where you're taking that much damage in the first place. It would be a situation where Lavos here would have to die in less than 3 seconds. And that's surprisingly hard to come across. Genuinely surprisingly hard to come across a situation where Lavos would actually die in less than 3 seconds without having screwed up how you're playing the mission in the first place. Yeah, Mirai, I know it's not an Omnia. That was before I was putting Omnias into everything from yourself. I'm not reforming it. It's not like a get starting energy, is it? So yeah, if you go for Arcane Persistence, it will work, absolutely. If you go for Arcane Persistence, you could consider, not definitely, but consider removing Adaptation. Because if you are taking over 500 health damage per second, Persistence will just cap that. It doesn't matter what Adaptation is doing at that point. It doesn't matter if someone is giving you a buff from Eclipse. It doesn't matter if someone is giving you any kind of improvement whatsoever. It doesn't matter if you give yourself 10 million armor. If you're hitting that Persistence cap, it's capped. And if you're able to out-heal that, you might as well strip off of the other damage reduction benefits. But when you strip off those other damage reduction benefits, you now hit Persistence more, and more, and more, and more. Every layer of damage reduction you take off because, hey, Persistence can just tank it, you now need to make sure you keep your tank on for those circumstances too. You need to make sure you are healing that thoroughly at all times. What am I getting here with Lavos? I'm getting a 6% health regen per second of 2240, which is 134 hit points per second. That's not enough. That's not enough. I would be dead in 5 seconds with that. So I would need to have another 370 hit points per second on top of Arcane Grace. And Arcane Grace isn't active 100% of the time. Sometimes it just decides not to trigger. You gotta watch out for those. So going for that Persistence build, going for that minimum 700 armor, you probably want 1400 in case of a heat proc. That's still a lot of healing you've got to account for at basically all times. Why there's so many people wanting to know why not Persistence? Because it looks like it's a Lavos Arcane. It looks like it's just the Lavos Arcane of all Arcanes ever. Health tanks get one shot all the time, don't you know? That's what some content creators or Reddit posts would have you believe. Health tanks just aren't viable in high levels, apparently. Because you get one shot. And Lavos can't just cast an ability to refresh his shield, so Lavos is particularly vulnerable. No active shield gate. Limited options for overguard gaining. Relying on all of that armor. Why not make use of it? And that really only applies on level cap runs. Genuinely. Also, yes, as Mirai points out, Lavos' status immunity isn't perfect. So if you were to receive a magnetic proc at the wrong time, Arcane Persistence turns off. If you don't have damage reduction in place, you will just get headshot. You get hit by that mag proc or nullification, you are out. Now, Ductile say, I think this is me being lazy, just usually go shield tanking with Aegis instead of health tanking. Funnily enough, I consider health tanking the lazier approach. As the person who is maining this health tank, I genuinely believe health tanking is about the laziest form of tank in Warframe. It is even lazier than invisibility tanking, and invisibility tanking is pretty damn lazy. Health tank is the laziest. Even Revenant's Mesmer skin is more effort than health tanking, on average. You see, a Revenant main who is using Mesmer skin, they need to recast it every 20 odd hits, depending on their build. Someone who is shield gating will need to watch out for if their energy runs out, or if Arcane Aegis doesn't proc. Someone who is running a health tank, 90% of the time just kind of goes, cool, I'm going this way now. Activated damage reduction? I'm not. It's all passive. Can Acolytes turn off invisibility abilities? They can turn off abilities, so yes. Violence does that. Others will ignore your invisibility sometimes. But Violence can just go, you're visible now. Yeah. In terms of Arcane Persistence, it takes a lazy tank, makes it more active in its demand. You need to hit that 500 damage per second because you've got that shield gate to protect you, and if you're building that, you might consider cheesing out your damage reduction. You have to watch out for those magnetic and ability nullifying effects because they will screw you over because your weak running is gone. And then if you aren't in a situation where you would have taken 500 plus health damage per second in your normal armor tank, this Arcane is doing absolutely nothing. Until you're in that situation where you couldn't tank, it was wasteful. And that's why I don't use it. I genuinely have no reason to do so. We have a request to switch up the rock to add in the lyrics in the background, so sure, we'll switch that playlist over. There you go. There you are, Queen. From Queen, health tank for me is just get the work done, permission, then check if health goes down, then nom. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Health tank is the laziest tank in Warframe. It has been since before I was at the position to be able to do that kind of thing. When I first saw someone showcasing Inaros using Umbral Set, armor abilities, adaptation, arcane grace, I was like, what the hell is that healing? How are you doing that? And now other people ask the same question. How do I tank so well with Lavos? It is. Arcane grace is absolutely goddamn bonkers. Lavos' armor is absolutely goddamn bonkers. Adaptation is absolutely goddamn bonkers. And Ophidian Bite is there if you really need it. Which occasionally I do, yeah. Jump Drone asking, the question is, does persistence work with quick thinking and energy over 500? Energy over 500? Oh, right. Okay, wait. So you're talking... let me see, actually, what are you talking here? So you're talking... Drains energy to stop lethal damage with 240% efficiency. Right. I don't see where the energy over 500 comes in, because it's just the amount of damage taken. And it should just be resisting that, like you just cannot take any more. And you wouldn't need 500 if it's at so-and-so efficiency. I'm not sure on that. Not something I've tried. You know what? Sorry, let's try that. Let's figure that out. Mirrorlay, Ductile, you want to test something? Yeah, you do. Could I ask you to remove your companions, please? Your companions do not murderize me. I will remove mine as well. Let's quickly test that. Let's grab... Clever. How does quick thinking interact with Lavos? That's a little bit. It don't. Let's just purchase a new config, just so I don't break anything existing. Assistance and fiber. Quick thinking. Prime flow. And why not some vitality in there as well? Do that, and that might as well. Alright, that is entirely testing purposes. It's our threshold, we got the health necessary to just kind of get things going. Oh, no, and also... yeah. There we go. Does silence persistence? Not sure. Please don't bring silence. Okay. We should be good here. Let's go try.
The multitude of creatures you have immortalized would cry out in thanks, if they could.
Very good. Let's see how this works out. Let's see where the interaction lands and then see if we care for it. What I'm going to need from these two wonderful people in the squad is they are going to attempt to obliterate me. Oh, let's see what these messages are real quick first. God damn it, Mirrorlay, what is it now? Thank you for the Frex card. Oh my fucking god. Thank you for the 30 Omniformers. Still haven't gone through the last lot. And thank you for the 30 actual formers. Mirrorlay, you are hurting people with this. Genuinely. Ah. Oh my word. Chris say, I've decided I don't like shield gating because I play solo a lot, and res, reviving from others, I guess, isn't an option everywhere. I make too many mistakes. What's the next best? Were you the one with the Mesa setup thing you were trying to do earlier? Or was that someone else? Because again, if it's a level cap thing, I ain't the person to help you, sorry. I don't care for level cap. And a squad? Welcome on in. Alright, Mirrorlay, Ductile, obliterate me. Jesus, okay, Mirrorlay, you just need to shoot a gun, Mirrorlay. You just need to shoot a gun, Mirrorlay. There we go. I've turned on friendly fire now. Okay, that melted my energy very quickly. That completely obliterated my energy. I lasted for an extra second there, so yes, it does work with it. Death. Death is what transpired. Let's try that again, shall we? Can you even see the effects on me? Ow. There we go, full energy. Health is bottomed out, and... my energy just cannot handle that amount of damage incoming. No, you've gone out of my line of fire, how dare you! Oh, you think you can be immortal, do you? It is not that perfect. Anyway, so yeah. Try with Rage plus Hunter and Nourish. Okay. I don't know what you expect is going to happen here, Gem Jerome. Because we're already doing a lot of conversion, but sure, let's swap over to Grendel. And let's see, do I have room for a fuck around build? This is not labeled, so we'll just break it. Okay, so let's go Persistence. There we go. Let's bring on... oh, I can't fit on rolls onto this, so let's just go Fiber. We go, it's a 740 armor. We'll need to do some feast, that's fine. Or I can use Tanker. Yeah, let's use Tanker, actually. That'll give me the remaining armor I need without it being any issue. No enemy spawning required. Then you said... oh yeah, I do need to eat still to proc Nourish, you're right. So at that point, I might as well just spawn a bunch of enemies in and go with that. So let's see. You were saying with Rage, with Hunter Adrenaline, with Quick Thinking, and let's see. Might as well add in some Vitality again. And we want our Flow. Right then. That should cover the majority of all the bits to consider there. Let's grab some basic enemies. We just want a little of them. Wait. Alright, Mirrorlade. Ductile. Murder. You call that murder? That's nothing! Murder! Yeah, I don't know what you thought was going to happen there. Honestly, not sure what we hoped was going to happen. Let me just come back. Please don't destroy my food. I'm being knocked over. More damage. More. And yeah, I'm just out again. Yeah, whatever magic you're hoping happens with quote-unquote 95% conversion, it doesn't. When you run out of health, so you're not going to continuously be gaining energy anymore. If you run out of health, there's no more conversion to be had, right? You are burning up the energy. And when you're burning up the energy, you just... burning up the energy. Once you run out of both of those, you're dead. So unless your idea is to spam Nourish for the healing, I guess, which I suppose you can do, yeah. But then you just come full circle to the whole, hey, did you know you can just heal? And Persistence works. That is, yeah. Nope, bouncing. Go ahead, murderize. Come on. Come on. Oh, magnetic procs. Oh. We can't be having magnetic procs, that's cheating. That turns off the arcane. Would something as simple done as basic health regen from Rejuvenate be enough? From Rejuvenate. Magnetic turns off the arcane? Yeah, it says so. Your Discord got hacked? Oh, that's going to be a problem. Alright. Are you saying that because it's already all over my Discord again? Thankfully not yet. Okay. So also bear in mind, we have a standard process for compromised accounts on the Discord. As soon as we see a compromised account, they get notified in DM and kicked. So the person knows what server to rejoin once they've fixed it. If they fix it. Not had a good success rate on people fixing that so far. Yeah, Persistence, it says magnetic status and ability nullifying effects disable this protection. So you do have to watch out for that. Okay, so, I was saying about Rejuvenate. Okay. Are we... Is that Trinity's ability? Nope. That's Blessing I'm thinking of. Sorry, help me out here. Is Rejuvenate translated from something? Because I'm not familiar with a feature or mod called Rejuvenate. Or... Sorry, you're on about Rejuvenation. 3 health per second. Please tell me the original suggestion was not about the 3 health per second Comgen. Oh, it was. Oh. We need to hit 500. It's not 3 health per second, and also you can account for your damage reductions. It's after all damage reduction, you still need 500 health per second. 3 is not gonna cut it. That is taking some tissue paper to a water gun fight. It's not gonna happen. Oh dear. Means like if you had a health thing that supercharged health sources, and what is the name of that one? I can't say, but the gate from persistence would be enough for it to proc and allow Hunter Adrenaline and Rage to work. No, 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 no. Comgen, no. Sorry, walk me through this one. You're saying the gate from persistence. It's not so much a gate as a 500 health per second limiter. I wouldn't really call that a gate, because that conflates it with things like shield gating, where there is a hard stop point. If you're on 100 health, persistence won't save you. At least not on its own. Obviously, if you go into quick thinking, you've got something else going on there. Gaining a few points of health after you've gone through a chunk of energy, you're just then going to lose those 3 points of health, and then the remainder straight into the energy. There is no gate. There is no block. Hunter Adrenaline and Rage on those 3 points of health, there's not enough there. 45% and 40%, that's what? 85% conversion? So you want to turn it into a few hundred energy, if I understand correctly? So we're looking at 0.85 times 3, 2.55 effective conversion to start with. Nourish would need to have, let's see here, around about... Let me think. $8,000 strength? Yeah, about 8,000 strength. That's how much rejuvenation is doing for you. If that were to work, that is the tier of benefit you'd need to be on. Also, looks like these two have been testing something in a moment. In the process. Yeah, let's quickly test that. Mirrorlay, you've been using silence, have you not? Yeah, I can see the effects going on. You've been using silence, haven't you, Mirrorlay? Interesting. So, in the last test, can you recast it? Because I've got the buff on my screen. Yeah, no, nothing on there. And like if you heavy attack, that should absolutely have enough damage to get 500 damage dealt to me, right? Yeah, so I'm definitely still getting the arcane buff. I took exactly 500 damage there. So at least your silence isn't doing it. No, I'd say if you're at the point of being able to use 8,000% strength, just find a different form of tanking. How does persistence calculate DPS? Does it set a 500 damage limit that resets every second? Yes, it does appear to be a kind of a clock of some sort. So, to demonstrate, these two are going to go absolutely ham on shooting me now. They're going to use everything they can to murderize me. I want to see those hit points plummet. I'm going to stand over here whilst that happens, and you see what happens to my health. Faster. This ain't fast enough. It needs to be faster than that. Oh shit. Okay. Heat procs not allowed. How do you think I'm going to test it if you turn off my armor? Don't force me to spawn in more armor. God damn it. Right then. Resume murder. I should have enough armor now that you can't turn off my armor. That's not enough DPS. You need more damage output than that. And Ductile, you need to not stand next to me when Mirrorwave uses an AoE. Yeah, the heavy attack is hitting the limit, but we're going to need Ductile to stay alive and hit me just as strongly. Didn't quite see what happened there, I'll be honest. Yep. Okay. I feel like I took too much there. I do feel like I took too much. Hold on. There is definitely a something going on here that I was not previously aware of that makes this even worse. Let's have a look at that in the replay. Let me grab my video editor. Takes a moment for it to load. It's got like 20 million modules and I only know how to use like 5 of them, but you know, I'm just a YouTuber. We're not making Hollywood movies. Okay. Let's grab the replay file. There we go. Oops, minimize the wrong thing. And now let's bring it up on screen so you all can see that. Okay. So, this was the most recent test. It's a little bit zoomed in for you guys, but that's just how it's going to have to be right now. I think I can get a little bit more room, actually. There we are. Don't want to mess my workspace too much, but it's fine. Can we... kindly not for a moment. Okay. So, the first big hit comes in. At this point here, I take a whole chunk of damage at 33:02:38, just on the timer. So 2:38 is the big one to go by there. The 2 is the seconds, 38 is the frames. During this time, we go straight through to 3:38, and neither of these two are actually trying to continuously attack me, so we don't get to see the continued effect there. But then we get this next hit come in. Now this next hit, it hits me for 440, so that's not enough to hit persistence just yet. And there is the next other bit to hit the final amount that persistence allows. So you see we hit that 500 limit. We go hit at 405, follow-up hit at 419, and I'm taking no damage at all now during this process until there. 505, exactly 1 second after that first hit. Yep, exactly 1 second later, I'm now permitted to take some damage again. But curiously, I'm at 1590 health. In one frame, I lose over 900 health as the slash proc ticks down. And then I still take another bit of damage. Ooh. That was a 1001 hit point health loss. And more health. Grumpy Pants is saying my assumption is slash procs ignore persistence because they ignore armor. I have an alternative theory we can test. I have an alternative theory. in order to test this alternative theory, I need one of you to equip Lavos and a weapon where the only damaging proc is electric. Lavos, because then you can valence formation in even more electric. We want all of the electric status. I want that electric status to be so overwhelming. The only thing I'll ever be aware of again in my life as Grendel is just electric status. For our 2 test bunnies, can you please do that? So, Alternox, Fulmin, Amprex, that sort of thing. I am looking for absolute overload of just electric death. Use Afflictions? No, I don't want to be thrown around, because that makes it harder for the other one to shoot at me. I want just a shitload of it. Wiki says true damage bypasses arcane persistence. Someone may have seen it from Slash, but I want to test electric. Because if it doesn't happen with just electric, and we've already seen it happening with a mix of procs, then it is Slash. If it happens with electric, then it's procs instead. Because it could be that persistence isn't blocking the damage property from procs and only from attacks. That's the bit I'm testing. So far we have just 1 day's point. We need the second as soon as they finish doing what they're doing. Because I hope you see where my logic comes on that. My logic being that persistence is worrying about incoming damage, but a proc might not be coded as incoming. Meaning it's not about typage. Now, if true damage does bypass persistence, that just leaves you wondering then how they coded persistence. Yeah. I know what the wiki says. Yes, thank you. The wiki can say things. The wiki can also be inaccurate. If you go to Equinox's page for MAME, someone pointed this... not someone, that was Saminator pointed this out to me earlier today. You go to the wiki page for Equinox's MAME, it tells you that it'll store the damage dealt to enemies' health and shields in MAME, which is incorrect. It stores the amount of hit points lost by those enemies. Meaning that if you hit a 200 hit point enemy with 1,000,000 damage, it soars based on that 200, not the 1,000,000. Small details are important, and the wiki doesn't always get those small details right. So I'm going to test. Go and grab my extra bits. There we go, got our armor. Okay then. Electricity Obliterate Plus. Why have you got Slash? I think I made it very clear. Go back to the arsenal, whichever one of you brought Slash when I said only electric damaging proc. Not electric and rest. I need those. Ow. They're damaging me with the electric proc you put on them. I got some more. These ones are going to die. There we go. Okay, have we got just electricity this time? No Slash. If so, murder. Maximum damage, all of it. Obliterate. Is this the best DPS you can get? I feel like you can get more damage on these electric rocks. Yeah. Sorry, did I step too close to you for a second? Like that. I'm not seeing enough incoming DPS to be certain so far. You want to tell me you guys don't have, like, a raw setup to go on that boss? Okay. Heat proc. I didn't have the enemies left, so my armor got reduced, so it turned off the arcane. This is why I said electric. My specificity isn't to be overlooked. It is a significant part of the testing environment. But it does look like... Okay, so Ductile's now ready to also do some attacking. Ductile, we really need you to join in. There we are. That confirms it 100%. Absolutely. No questions asked now. It is definitely just a slash thing. The wiki this time is correct. 96% of the time it is. Oh boy. You guys need better Amprexes. Holy fuck, that took too much work for you to get yourselves there. It's not that bad of a weapon, damn it. It's not that bad of a weapon. Then you die from bleed, not slash. Jim Jerome, what do you want about? Wasn't the proc at 5 seconds, not 6? What do you want about? No question half details. What's your point? Walk me to it. Because, yes, I died because I didn't have enough health, but, you know. Because high enough slashed, bypass it completely, lost 9 health, not died. Okay, that just means that the slash proc wasn't enough to insta-kill me, that's all. It's possible for a slash proc to not have enough damage to kill. Just because it bypasses the arcane doesn't mean guaranteed instant death. It doesn't have to have enough to kill? Okay. Well, you had to kill, you have to bypass? No one said that. No. I'm not sure where you got that one from, sorry, Jerome. I'm genuinely not sure where you picked that one up from. Bypassing the arcane... oh, for fuck's sake, I'm fed up of hearing about this goddamn wiki article being written. Let's have a look at it. Arcane persistence. What did someone write on the wiki? What they contribute to hitting the gate threshold, true damage such as life leech, Xmas, and slash will bypass the 500 damage cap. This means that a high enough damage slash proc can one-shot despite using the arcane. Jerome, please go read. I really don't know what else to tell you other than you are trying to tell me to read an article that says the exact opposite of what you were trying to claim. Yeah, one-shot means kill? That's, okay. I really don't handle someone who doesn't read very well. I will reread it to you. Tell me where you get stuck. Will they contribute to hitting the gate threshold? True damage such as a life leech, Xmas, and slash block will bypass the 500 damage cap. Okay? Bypasses the cap. This means that a high enough damage slash proc can one-shot despite using the arcane. Not every slash proc, not requires to have enough. A high enough will one-shot. It can but doesn't have to. Thank you. I'm glad we're on the same page now. Next time you've come across something where you think the other person doesn't quite understand, don't just tell them to look at the wiki. And certainly make sure you are reading it before you restate that you are sure that's what it's on about. Jesus. Okay, I'm good now. Right, we're over that point. We are completely over that one. Yes, Arcane Persistence overall, I will have to say... that Arcane Persistence really just isn't that amazing of an arcane. Working on Grendel build? No, it was just testing the arcane. It's really not all that amazing. You lose your shield gate and any other opportunity to utilize a shield gate of any kind whatsoever. You must have 700 armor or 1400 if you're worried about heat procs, more still if you're worried about corrosive procs. That's a lot of armor already. So that limits the number of circumstances you can use it in. It's completely ineffective if you're not at that point losing, or would be losing, more than 500 health per second. So that's now an even more narrow situation. It is vulnerable to magnetic status and ability nullifiers because busted strategies, apparently. That's even more narrow. And you must maintain that healing throughout. If you start taking off layers of damage reduction other than that armor minimum, just because like, oh well, I can tank it anyway, you're now having to make sure you full focus that healing at all times. And that is a lot of effort just to avoid the potential for a one-shot. That is a lot of effort. So yeah, it is an option, but it's a lot of work to make that option an option. Mindless say Arcane Persistence works nicely with Blood Altar. I can see that, yeah. I can see that. Blood Altar does give you that constant healing, so that will just give you that aura. It's got a weird scaling to it, but that actually still works in your favor, yeah. Would Inaris ignore the magnetic due to his third? Yes, if you have status immunity, you are immune to the magnetic status effect. Absolutely, yeah. Do bear in mind that ability nullification doubly will still be a problem there, but you're very right. That will block the magnetic and the heat and the corrosive, actually. Does this arcane work on a frame that doesn't have a shield? Yes. Things that remove it don't require that you have it there to be removed. So yeah, you absolutely can use this on Kalevo and Inaris, no problem there. And Midas. Probably wanted to have something similar to health as toxins to shields. I think it was actually because of the Apex boss fights. Because the Apex boss fights, they rely on magnetic and nullification in order to tell you, you should be dodging this attack. If this attack hits you, you are screwed. And on release, Persistence wasn't screwed by those and just went, try again. Which leads to issues. But yeah, that is about the circumstance where it exists. And to be fair, it is a very valid circumstance. It is an absolute bastard of a fight, those Apex fights. Certainly for health tanks, because of they do hit a limit in terms of damage reduction. It is very much are you genuinely scared of a one-shot whilst health tanking? Arcane Persistence. If you are not genuinely, truly scared of a one-shot, not there could be a one-shot, actually scared of it, if it is not a true and proper threat to you, I genuinely do not believe it's worth investing into. You're taking up a mod slot, sorry, arcane slot, and you only get 2 of those per frame. You are still needed to build your armor. You need to build a lot of healing. Not that big of a return for it most of the time. Logrin asking, does heat reduce remaining armor by half? Such as what's left after corrosive procs? Correct, yes. So if corrosive brings you down to 1399 armor, heat will then bring you down to 699.5, which will be too low for the arcane. If you're at full stack corrosive, which is 10, 80% armor reduction, heat proc will bring that to 90% armor reduction. So at that point, if you had less than 7,000 armor, arcane persistence turns off. But that would be an obscene circumstance. that's a lot of corrosive procs. Oh boy, is it? Yeah. Middle saying, reminds me, you get the kind of magnetic proc even if you're status immune in Apex fights. Is that why you get magnetic proc and ability nullifier at the same time? I'm not sure on the magnetic proc if you're immune to magnetic procs. Because like if you have arcane nullifier, I think that's supposed to, well, nullify it, right? I don't recall ever taking Arcane Nullifier to the Apex fights myself, so I can't be certain on that. You also energy in the fight? Losing energy could be built into the ability itself. That's separate. A magnetic proc is a specific thing. That it happens to drain energy is separate from all energy drains and magnetic procs. And magnetic damage is not the relevant bit here, mindless. Magnetic damage does not turn off the arcane. Yeah, Mirai, but if you didn't see the magnetic proc, then you didn't get a magnetic proc. But that's... I know it sounds a little bit reductive there, but that's kind of how it works. What was it? Arcane... Yes, there we are. Yeah, this is disabled by magnetic status, not magnetic damage. So taking magnetic damage is irrelevant. Brother is saying there are non-magnetic proc ability disables. Those are just two separate things. In that fight, if you stand in the red stuff in the Apex fight, yeah. Ability nullification is not a magnetic proc. Magnetic proc is not magnetic damage. Magnetic damage is not ability nullification. These are three separate things. Two of which turn off this arcane, one of them does not. An energy drain is a fourth thing, which is again separate, but also happens to be something a magnetic proc does. I get there can be some confusion there, but you just have to look at what question you're asking. It's honestly, as far as Warframe goes, one of the simpler bits to understand. But yeah, slash bypassing persistence, that's just wrong. That's clearly unintended, as far as I'm concerned. Or if that's not unintended, that needs writing on the arcane as well. There is no way I can see that persistence is supposed to be bypassed by a slash proc, when all of the other status effects do not bypass it. That's the crucial bit there. It cannot be hit for more than 500 damage per second. It was that phrasing I was challenging with the electric test. Oh, sorry, I'm in the way. That phrasing cannot be hit for more than however much. Because electric's being blocked by it as well, we could assume heat and toxin the same then. Assume. Yeah. This is saying, do you think it should be stated? Not sure it's unintentional. You don't know. So I guess we could just argue either way on that one, yeah. You believe it's a nice analog to toxin. I believe this has enough analogs already in that health tanks are supposed to be resistant to toxin. And the weakness here is if your armor gets removed, if you get hit with magnetic status, if you get hit with nullifier, or just if you fail to heal it. Maybe it is. Maybe it is intentional. They haven't said anything of the sort. So the simplest explanation is it's unintentional. Is Arcane Intensify worth it on Lavos, asks Joker? It can be. It can be. But that would require you to be running not Umbral. Let's see. I think I had to... Yeah, I put that on the other Lavos, didn't I? That would be this one? Didn't put it on these ones either. Yeah, you can. In order to trigger it, it is only triggered, if I recall, off of Ophidian Bite, which also means that in itself you largely won't get the benefit on Ophidian Bite. Yeah. Yeah, fair enough, Mythic. It is possible that DE intended something, didn't tell us. And so my assertion that it's likely unintended is just as valid as your assertion that it's likely intended. I still believe it's more likely unintended. And I'm not saying that's not... I'm not dismissing your option as not possible, I'm saying it's more likely. On the basis of they've already made clear what should counter the arcane. You would expect at some point in those conversations that have said slash is also one of them. There's a lot of yellow shards? Yeah, that is. That is parkour. Okay, sure, why not? Yeet's Lavos. Fair enough then. And then this one, none of that because I've got it on the arcane. Okay, I think we've about gone over it. That's persistence. We've gone over the code, cubigliches and that whole process and adjustments. Does Sparkle Shard affect the ice slide? It does not, no, but it affects bullet jumps, and those are a big part of movement. That's why that's on there. We've gone over the cubigliches. We've gone over the Parita stuff, the Talon strikes, and discovered it wasn't Reb that said the majority of it. It was all Pablo, but Reb at least was nodding along with it. Yeah, we touched on... Oh, we didn't touch on Vorben. We'll do that next time then. Vorben's update definitely looks good, and I suppose the devil is in the details, but... Anyway, I think now it's about time that we do a plat giveaway. Yes, indeed. It's about time we do that. So, let's get that loaded up onto here. Links are allowed. If you just post a random link to a random thing clash point, I'm going to remove it. When you post a link that looks like you're being facetious, yeah, I'm definitely removing it. Let's go ahead and do a quick giveaway. I need to load up the program for that. Just a second. There it is. Don't know why I lost that for a moment. And up on screen in 3, 2, 1. Ah, that's close enough. Alright then, let's go ahead and do a quick 75 platinum giveaway, courtesy of DE, passing out to us here. Let's open the drawers on that. Exclamation mark enter if you'd like a chance to win that 75 plat. Exclamation mark enter for a chance to win that. There we go. Alright. Now just as this goes rolling through as well, this is where we're otherwise going to be wrapping up the stream after this, and we can raid on out of here, or have a look as to who we can raid on into in just a sec. But for those of you who are one of your first time here, or just broadly new, the way these giveaways work is very simple. Everyone has the same chance to win. It doesn't matter if it's your first time here, or if you've been here for years and years and years. Everyone gets the same chance in every single one of these giveaways. With that though, you might notice we got a lot of Lavos here, and we got a lot of not Lavos. If you are a subscriber or VIP, you can pick yourself a different avatar from the default Lavos here. All you need to do is use exclamation mark pick frame and your choice of avatar, such as exclamation mark pick frame and Inoros, if you so choose. The full list of avatars is under exclamation mark avatar. It doesn't make you any better at the fight. It doesn't make you any worse at the fight. It is entirely a cosmetic. But hey, that's what the gaming industry is these days. The paid changes are cosmetics, so we do the same here. And for those of you who are gifted a sub, by the way, if you do use Pickframe with a gifted sub and your sub runs out, your skin remains chosen. It doesn't get yanked away from you just because you're no longer a VIP or subscriber. You still get to keep hold of that. So, yeah. Until you resubscribe, you won't be able to change it to something else. I'm not just going to yank it off here. That would just be rude. And also more work on my side, but that's irrelevant. Macho Mouse, you slightly missed the key there. It's a V in avatar. Mantis Batty, thank you very much for the 10 gifted subs there, going out to the community. Much appreciated. That's gone out to Golden Oats, to Mav, to Lester Chiro, to Howl, to Quill, Peter, to Tony Bloke, to Lemeria, to Galaqui, to Snivy Raccoon, and to DDB Kush. All of those of you can now also use the exclamation mark pick frame command. Would you look at that? And Mirrorlade, thank you very much for gifting a sub over to Templar Warden, who also now can pick their own choice of avatar for these giveaways. Thank you very much, you two, for those gifted subs there. Much appreciated. I'll give you all one last moment to enter in on this. Exclamation mark enter for a chance to win that 75 plat. I'm just having a look at the Twitch category whilst we do that, see where we can raid on out to here afterwards. Let's have a quick ganders. Oh, look at that. My giveaway screen is up on the thumbnail of this stream right now. Well, isn't that a little bit fancy? Yo! And we have the gifts from CalJade9 as well. Thank you very much, you wonderful people. That's gone out to Z1 Alpha, Fiery Sentinel, Rodar7, to Calev Knight, and to Scar. Much appreciated there, CalJade. Thank you very much for the gifted subs there. We are well into a hype train now. Okay, well, we just definitely cannot wrap up the stream just yet, can we? Thank you very much to the 3 of you. Yeah, you lot get a few more minutes of stream after all. I don't tend to stream when a hype train is running. That is the rule. I may at some point break that rule, but not right now. Oh yeah, we did briefly have 69 entries, didn't we? But then someone else had to enter. That's just how it be. Were it always 69, it would never be quite as nice. But yes, indeed, once again, for those of you who've just been gifted a sub, that means you do have access not only to ad-free viewership here on the channel, you also have the emotes, which you can use across any Twitch channel, and you can use across any Discord server, because Twitch emotes, as a subscriber, can be used all across Discord as well, without needing Nitro. You have access to the Supporter Tea Lounge over on my Discord. That is the premium channel available there. Only for the coolest of people, of course. And you can indeed update your avatar with !pick frame in your choice of avatar for these giveaways. For just a little bit of flashy. Why not? Did I discuss the change to Requiem relics? Is it even worth bringing up? It is worth bringing up, and I did discuss it earlier. But by and large, it is going to be a faster way of getting the mods. Although not strictly a faster way of getting a specific one if you're already in a position to hard farm it. So it is the very slightest of nerfs, only to those who are already in abundance. For everyone else, it's a buff, which is welcome. Alright, we'll do this draw in 20 seconds. Count it down. 19, 18, 17. Actually, this is a good point to remind you that there is probably a stream delay for a lot of you. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Draw. Okay then, out of those of you who've entered in, only one of you can be our winner today, which means all the rest of you need to be wiped off the face of the earth. Let's see, who is going to be the survivor today? Who is going to make their way through it? 14 Drag Potion, you're a little bit too late on the entering there, so if you're not already entered, you'll just have to catch another giveaway at a later time. Well, let's see, who is going to defeat the boss? Who is going to be the one who can actually take it down? Out of the remaining people, it is Logrin! Logrin, congratulations, you are our
Excellent
winner today.
work, Tenno. The extraction point is up ahead.
There we go. GG's absolutely on that there, Logrin. And it looks like we've already got your details on a record here. So that means we'll be able to get that sent on straight over to you when DE send out the batch. They send that out every couple of weeks, so you can look forward to that in your inbox. Absolutely. Congratulations, Logrin. And to everyone else, unfortunately you may not have won this one, but we do run these giveaways very frequently as well. Most streams have a giveaway of some variety, so you can look forward to more of those in the future. If you're not already following, drop the follow so you know when I go live with those. We're supposed to say this is cool. Thank you. Made it myself. You'll not see another giveaway program exactly like this anywhere because no one has it. And I don't have any intention of sharing it out, so it's just for us a wonderful lot here. You and me. We get to enjoy it. Right. Hype train's still running. And like I said, I do not end the stream when we've still got a hype train running, so I suppose, is there a question I have missed from anyone at this point? So with the, yeah, you're very right, Axel. So, yeah, same as with the coder mod stuff, it'll be faster, but you can't target specific ones that way. Although someone else points out, you can, with the updates that's coming, apparently also go over to Paladino and buy the old version of relics. That said, we don't know what limits there'll be on those purchases, so there'll still be that to it. But by and large, I expect the prices of Requiem mods to go down, the ease of access for your average player to go up, and yeah, that's just going to be an improvement. How much of an improvement by and large is harder to say. I suppose for those starting out who also don't want to trade, massive improvement. If you've already got a set of Requiem mods, the improvement is going to be kind of it's acknowledgeable. Cracking a relic will go up from a maximum of 40% of a mod to 100% of a mod. You should be doing it in a group of people anyway, so the actual improvement won't be that much higher. But we shall see on that. Oh hey! Got a new hype train emote. It's been a while since we've seen a new one of those. Would you look at that? Where'd it go? Crap, where did it go? Ah, there it is. I have, thanks to you lot, I now have a waving high hand smiley face gift thing. Well, isn't that a cute little tidbit? Isn't that a cutie little thing? That's what you get when you join in the hype trades. You get one of those. Or whatever remote they choose to hand out. Alright, but that is enough faff. Let's refresh that Warframe category just in case anyone has stopped that we wanted to go over to. No. Who do we raid on into today? You know what? I think we can raid into Gaz today. It's been a hot minute since we've raided into Gaz, so we can definitely go and say hello to Gaz. We can definitely say that today. So let's get that loaded up. Let's get the deets ready for our raid in onto that. No idea what they're up to. We'll just have to find out the hard way. And by that I mean the easy way. It's just raid again. It's not exactly difficult. And there we go. Okay, raid is initiated. Once again, everyone, thank you very much for joining in today. Hope you have enjoyed yourselves. Hope you've learned some bits and pieces, or at the very least, I hope you've been entertained. And I will see you in the next one on Wednesday. Bye-bye for now.
I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Living every day